Can I get everyone to quiet down? Okay, Rick, we're gonna get started. So if I could ask you all to please keep the volume down. I understand you have things you want to say, and we are going to be taking public comment in a few moments. But I would like to remind everyone, and perhaps Daisy, you can translate, but this is a city council meeting, and we are here doing the meeting in front of the public. This is not a public meeting. Am I saying this right, Mary?
It's not a meeting of the public in front of council. It's a
Right.
meeting of the, let me just say it from up here.
Thank you. You say it better than me. Thank you.
Okay, so parliamentary procedure, just a couple of things. This is a council meeting in front of the public. It is not a meeting of the public in front of council. Council has to be able to conduct its business. Also, it is imperative that any speakers during their allotted time speak from this spot right here, or it is not captured in the minutes. And the minutes is our official record. So I recognize that the public has some important things to say. It is important that they do it from this spot during their turn so we can capture it. Thank you.
Thanks for explaining that to everyone. Daisy, can you translate?
So queremos recordarle al auditorio que esa es una reunión del Consejo de la Ciudad. Cualquier comentario que quiera hacer, que por favor lo haga aquí en el micrófono. La reunión se toma notas, lo que se llama minutes, y lo que usted diga va en esos documentos. So, cualquier cosa que usted desea decir queda grabado ahí y es importante que lo haga, lo que quiera decir que lo diga en el micrófono.
Thank you for that. Now, I think, Dolores, were you done with your comments? Okay. And as far as me, I just have a couple of questions for you. So one of the options, you talked about changing the sphere of influence, and it mentioned something about environmental reports. Or I'm just curious, is there a separate, like would an EIR be required if that were to happen? Isn't Gavilan already doing an EIR? I'm just trying to, would they be able to use that, or would they have to do a whole, because you were talking about the timeline and how long it takes for an EIR, so that's what I was trying to get an answer to.
So I believe environmental review was done previously in discussions related to sewer service, and I am not aware of whether or not that was a programmatic EIR that could then tier off to Gavilan, but it would be worth exploring if you could do a negative declaration or mitigated negative declaration.
I see. Okay. I thought I had another question, but no, I don't think I have any other questions right now. So we could go to public comment then. Do we have comment for this item?
Mayor Casey, there are only 2 public comments for this item that have been received in person. The first is from Bill Lee.
Surprise, surprise.
Okay, you're out of order, sir.
Good evening. My project's land lease, and it was not shown in the PowerPoint, but up to this point, it has always been part of this discussion. We actually received our will serve letter a day before Gavilan College and Dividend Homes. They were all issued at the same time when the city made a commitment that they would serve. That's when I started spending money on my project, my hard life-earned money, in order to promote affordable housing and workforce housing for this community. When the direction was given from the council last October for the city manager to work a contract out with Sunny Slope, we were part of that, along with the other groups that were mentioned tonight. My connection fees will be over $1.3 million. My project's a little smaller than Dividend Homes. I've got a lot more affordable housing, a lot of low income, some moderate, and workforce housing. If you leave me out, you also risk litigation from me, just like if you don't do anything with the others. When Roberts Ranch was built, which is right behind Cielo Vista, the city required them to upsize the sewer lines there to accommodate Gavilan College, Roberts Ranch, Gavilan College, Cielo Vista, Dividend Homes, and the Lanza Lee project. So I would ask tonight, if you make any motion, any recommendation, any direction on this, that it also includes me. I'd also like to comment of the options. The first two options that were presented really are the only ones that are practical. Option 3 would take too long, and Gavilan would end up putting in a septic tank. And obviously option 4, they would put in a septic tank. We've got to protect the environment and not send sewage into our groundwater. That's very important. Our environmental impact report did contemplate sewer going to the city, because we did have a letter, and when I finish speaking here in just a moment, I will hand that letter to the city clerk for the record. Also, I have some technical information, which I don't have enough time to speak. I gave a copy to the city clerk, and when I finish speaking, I'll hand a copy to all of you at council. I would appreciate if you would do the right thing here tonight. These projects were given a commitment prior to the city. My project provides an important piece of infrastructure for Gavilan College, provides secondary access. If something were to happen with the roughly 200 homes at Dividend Homes or the college campus, there's only one road in and out. There's no emergency exit. And the fire chief's here tonight. If you ask him, he will tell you that's extremely important for life safety. If a power line goes down, something blocks the road, you got to get somebody out with the ambulance or get the fire truck in. So I implore you, I know it's important to hear all the conversation, and everybody's input is valuable, but please do the right thing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next public speaker is Michael Durkee. The next public speaker is Michael Durkee. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. And then we do have someone online who has their hand raised. Terry Thompson, is that for this item? Okay, they lowered their hand. So those are all the public comments we have for this item.
Okay, so if we're done with public comment, then do we want to get some consensus? What are people's thoughts on the options? Did you have a thought there, Mr. Burns?
Thank you, Mayor. So I would like to hear from our fire chief to follow up on what Mr. Lee said, if the chief could approach the podium, please.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. So what Mr. Lee was referring to was an assembly bill, and I don't know what the numerics are on it. It's a 4-digit assembly bill that was passed in December of last year, and it states that all communities that are being developed from this year on must have one way in and one way out. So 2 forms of ingress and egress. This is to avoid what happened up north, I want to say in 2018, when that one parish, or that one Paradise had suffered multiple casualties, 65 years and older. So this is something that we need to address.
Thank you, Chief. Mayor, my thoughts were, I would like to see us move forward and further explore the options. My tendency would be to lean toward option 2, and I would like, based on the will serve letter, even though I don't necessarily like past council or past city administration's directions, I feel like we have some reason to want to honor that. I certainly do. I think we have to stand behind past actions in that case, and so I'd like to see us further explore option 2 and have the city execute an agreement if it makes sense once all the facts are out. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Resendez.
Thank you. I'm going to say my comments in Spanish, and then the same exact ones, I'll repeat them in English. Primeramente, lo quiero decir gracias a todos por venir ahora esta tarde. Yo sé que hay muchas diferentes cosas que pueden estar haciendo en este tiempo, pero es muy importante que están educados y que sepan lo que está pasando en su ciudad. Ustedes, incluyendo yo, antes que sentar aquí, yo fui a juntas, yo fui y voté todas las elecciones, pero muchas veces ha notado que nuestra voz, nuestros intereses no están decididos en un buen tiempo para nosotros. So, esto no es bueno. Hay 2 cosas que están diciendo. Esta cosa, y luego vamos a hablar de hacer la capacidad del drenaje más grande. Yo tengo un problema con esto porque hay una escuela, Gavilan, que quiere drenaje. Muy bien, Yo soy un estudiante, un alumni de Gravilán. Yo sí los quiero ayudar y los doy drenaje. Pero ellos quieren, y ellos están contratados con otras personas, son 3 personas siguiendo de ellos que van a hacer muchas más casas fuera de la ciudad. Nosotros no debemos de dar drenaje a casas o para que hagan más casas fuera de la drenaje. El señor que vino aquí es el señor que dio no millones, miles de dólares a esas 2 señoras aquí. Entonces yo pienso que eso no es justo. Ellas no deben de decidir en eso. Lo que está pasando es están juntando las que van a hacer dinero a no ser los pasos buenos para que puedan agarrar el aprobación. Eso no es como debemos de hacerlos. No es un estudio de capacidad, no es un estudio de la drenaje. Tenemos que hacer esas cosas primeros antes que dar más drenaje a cualquier persona afuera de la ciudad. Lo que va a pasar es esto. Van a poner más casas. Estos pipas que están aquí en downtown están 100 años viejos, muy chicos. Con todas esas casas, el drenaje, los estudios no están mirando en eso. Los pipas van a quebrar. ¿Y quién va a pagar por esas pipas? Ustedes. Nosotros estamos en posición que podemos decir, está bien, ¿quieren drenaje? Está bien, deje que nosotros hacemos el estudio primero y darles 10, 15 millones de dólares para que si quebran los otros pipas, ustedes pueden pagar por eso. Es corrupción lo que están haciendo. ¿Y quién va a sufrir? Nuestra gente, nuestras casas, porque van a mandar todo ese drenaje al west side de Hollister. Entonces yo no puedo apoyar esto en esta tarde. Gracias. I just want to thank everybody for coming out here tonight. Whether you're for this, whether you're not for this, it is very important for you to come and take part in democracy. I know politics gets a little bit passionate, and I know it gets a little divisive. It is what it is. We put our trust in people, we elect them to office, and we hope that they're going to make decisions that are going to benefit our voice and our interests. Unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. And I used to be one of those people that thought the process was pretty good. But we've got a number of people in here that are benefiting from the decisions that are being made by this council tonight.
Just let him finish. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. What's happening here today is that you have a bunch of developers getting together. Oh, one point I want to make. I am an alumni of Gavilan College. I went to Gavilan College. I'm very proud of going to Gavilan College. I will gladly give you sewer, but not at the cost of our residents and not by approving all of these homes, especially from the gentleman who spoke up here and gave these women thousands of dollars. That is not okay. That's political corruption, and they shouldn't be taking part in these conversations. And if we're going to do it, then we have to do it right. Proper planning for infrastructure is getting the capacity study done now, getting the sewer water master plan done now, so we know what we're working with. You guys are going to build some beautiful pipes out there and new sewers. I get it. But what about the pipes that are down here that are 100 years old and very narrow? You're going to send all of that sewer to the west side of Hollister, which I represent. Along the way, those pipes are going to burst, and who's going to get stuck with that cost? The citizens of Hollister will. This is foolish. Absolutely foolish. This is not good planning. This is not good infrastructure planning. What this is political corruption. The pipes are going to burst, and these people are going to get stuck with the cost. I cannot support taking any action. I wish you would just put the septic tank like you said you would until all of you developers got rid of Ignacio and put her in place so she can approve your projects. Thank you.
Councilmember Perez.
Number 2.
Okay. Vice Mayor.
I support Councilmember Burns' recommendations.
Okay. Okay, I remembered my other question, so I wanted to ask you. You mentioned the 22-foot long, that one section that is narrow. If I remember correctly, we talked about funds that we have for the sewer specifically. There's, I think, $42 million in one fund and 27. So that funding could be used to replace the section that is narrow. It doesn't have to come out of general funds. Is that correct?
Correct. It would
Okay.
either come out of the existing expansion funds or the connection fees if this were to move forward.
Okay.
They would pay connection fees, and that could be used to do whatever upgrades
Okay.
need to be done. And it's actually a 30-foot section of 21-inch pipe.
And would you do that as a part of this, or would you have to, how would you make the determination when to do that? Like, how is it determined?
Well, through the capacity study that was done, they basically take the flows, the estimated flows, and then they do the calculations of the diameter of the pipe and how full would that pipe be.
Okay.
So that should probably be done before the connection could be made, as long as there wasn't any sewage coming, right? So it should be done prior to
I see.
the development.
Okay, thank you. I finally remembered.
I do have follow-up questions when you're done, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Sorry, could I finish? Thank you. Okay, so council directed bringing this back because the greater community's been pretty clear, passing not one, but two bond measures because they really want this campus built. And in the last bond measure, I think we had over 10,000 residents that voted in favor. So we've got a pretty clear mandate here. As far as I'm concerned, a year after this was passed, in 2019, the city gave a will serve letter for sewer service, and that kind of gives, it makes me concerned about litigation. But I think that we have a problem here, and the last thing I want to say is that I appreciate the resourcefulness of Gavilan in coming up with a septic system as a workaround. But we all know they're really not very environmentally friendly, and it's not the most ideal option. So for me, I'd have to follow Councilmember Burns' option, I think it was 2, to have the city submit it to LAFCO, because LAFCO is really the expert when it comes to sphere of influence and sewer connections, and they have lawyers that can help decipher this because it is very complex. So I would support that going to LAFCO for consideration. Right, Councilmember Resendez, did you have a last comment?
Thank you. Question. Thank you for bringing up the comments about the sewer funds. In a Bonito Link article that the mayor wrote about that, and myself, she stated that both of those funds, the $24 million, the $45 million, could only, I repeat, only be used to maintain the sewer and expand the sewer city services. Sir, according to the code ordinance 13.04.330, is that a correct statement that the mayor made?
So without the code in front of me, the article referenced that I believe it said that it was the impact funds. So there's two funds. There's the actual enterprise fund, which is where the ratepayers pay into. That can be used for the operations of the plant, paying down the debt, all of those different types of things. Think of that as an enterprise fund. It's a separate business fund. It's a line of business.
Good.
The impact funds, which are collected, as we talked about tonight, per unit, those, there is explicit uses in the code. I can pull it up if you like. But paying down the bonds is an allowable activity under that code.
Let's talk about that. So first off, that was incorrect information that you said were facts. We can take those millions of dollars and not have to pay for pipes that are bursting that this new development that her friends are building. We can take those millions of dollars, pay down the sewer debt that the city residents of Hollister are now paying and lower their bill. Is that not a correct statement, Mr. City Manager?
If I may. If I may.
Madam Mayor, I have the floor, and I stated a question to the city manager.
Could
Thank
you
you.
respond?
Yes, so just to give a little context, back in October, your council approved what's called a defeasance, which is where we took $5 million put it into basically an investment account until June when our 2023 bonds were callable. That was paid down at $5 million. Similar to, I'm just going to use layman terms, if you had a 5-year car payment and you made a year worth of payments, your payment's still not going to go down. You've just paid your balance down further. So as it stands, roughly the bonds are at about $43 million. And then there's still interest on top of that. What would happen is that if more funds, if we had received direction to do another defeasance, we would work with our municipal advisor on strategies because when you, the remaining bonds are callable in 2026. And so what would happen is similar. You put those dollars aside, they go into investment to earn some interest, and then those get paid down. The balance is then taken into consideration when you do a rate study. And so then you have that decision point of, do you lower the rates? Do you keep them where they're at? The original rate study had them actually with the ability to go higher. I think this council's done a good job of not accelerating that, but that can all be studied as part. So what you would want to do is look at that. The master plan that William spoke about earlier, that helps too to understand what those potential upcoming costs could be as well. But in a long-winded way, yes, you can use those funds to pay down the debt, and I can pull that ordinance up if you'd like.
Thank you. And I think it's very disgraceful that this nice gentleman who works for us identified one pipe that's already going to burst, and this council is ready to give away the farm and haven't even said, can you please pay for that one pipe? Instead, you're going to end up paying for that. How sad is that?
Okay. Are you done, sir?
I yield my time. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Perez, did you have anything?
That's a hard act to follow. I'll just pass.
Okay. So, a couple of points of clarification. Okay, a couple of points of clarification. Number one, yes, I wrote an article about the sewer as our infrastructure and how important it is to maintain it. But my point in talking about those sewer funds is that I was getting questions from people, why can't we just take those funds and use them on the roads? Because that's a point, everyone wants the roads to be fixed.
But you lied, and you
Okay,
used that
you do not
opportunity
have
to
the
paint me
floor,
in a bad
sir.
light after you
Please
said
do
you were going
not
to bring this
interrupt.
council together. Shame on you.
Please do not interrupt. Thank you. So that's my point is to explain to people that you cannot just take sewer funds and go put them in a roadway. And the impact fund that we were talking about that were from developers' fees, that is for the development of the sewer and the repairs. And that's what I was referring to. So, now I'm forgetting my other train of thought. Because you lied. Okay, please, no more. All right, I think if we've all given, do we have consensus here then?
I'd like to request a roll call vote, please, Madam Mayor.
Sure.
I'd like to just ask a clarifying question. So the way that I read it is we're asking the city to move forward to have an agreement with Sunny Slope. So, and then to get a left. So my concern is two, is
Okay.
one is to make sure that we do it in a timely manner, to make sure that if we're doing this to prevent the septic tank, that it doesn't interfere with the timelines. So that's my area of concern, and to incorporate everything you discussed.
Thank you, because that was what I was forgetting, sorry. So, yeah, I mean, guess that would be my point is there's the option of Sunny Slope taking it to LAFCO or the city, and I think our preference is for the city staff to take it to LAFCO, but I guess we would want it to be done in a timely fashion, and is that something that seems doable given the circumstances around Gavilan and their timeline for building the septic? So that was question number one. So
Yes, I can speak to that. So the direction for today, if the city pursues an agreement, that agreement would come back to the council for review and approval.
okay,
At this point in time, there is not LAFCO management or a direct executive director who is willing to take action on this decision. He is interim through September. We don't have clear information But our understanding is that LAFCO is being staffed. They are obtaining counsel and moving forward with a permanent executive officer.
Yes.
We would need their review of the agreement once it's been negotiated and put together.
Right.
So we have to take into consideration those two timelines. My understanding is that Gavilan has some flexibility through December, end of this year, at which point, if there was a commitment to moving forward with an agreement, they would not put in this septic tank. I don't know that that's definite, and I would let them speak if they're available, but that's my understanding of the timeline.
Okay, I wasn't really referring to what, I realized LAFCO has some issues and would probably they're going to take what they take. I was more trying to get with the city as far as how long it would take them, because they've got other duties, obviously, to prepare an application to be submitted. Can we do it in a timely fashion?
I would say that I would think that we could have it back within the next couple months.
Okay, okay.
So
And then
that has to go through full legal review. You'd have to have ratification on the Sunny Slope side as well.
Yes, okay, gotcha. Then my last question was, as far as the rate study you mentioned, I mean, one of the things that I've heard from a lot of the community is that, you know, we were promised that our rates would go down, and I understand that there was one rate reduction, but how can we get to that point, especially if we are able to use the other fund? How can we get there? Because the community's been waiting, and it seems like.
So we currently have a draft rate study that a consultant has been working on. It's a water and wastewater rate study. Okay. One of the issues is a lot of the staff wasn't here when that rate study was begun. So we want to make sure that all CIP projects that we know need to be done are included, and we want to have a capacity study of the treatment plant so that everything is included, so that we don't, let's say for instance, cut the rates and then 2 years from now realize we shouldn't have cut them because now we don't have enough money to do what needs to be done. So that's where that rate study is currently at. Okay. And once we have all that information in, and we can finalize that rate study, and that would come back to council.
Thank you. All right, so we have consensus then on option 2, is that correct? I thought I heard, so do we need to take a roll call on consensus?
It was requested of Councilmember Resendez. I do want to confirm with council that everyone knows what option 2 is. If you'd like me to read it out, I'll look to William to make sure I'm reading out the right thing. So, execute agreement with Sunny Slope Water District to sell capacity at a per unit basis for Gavilan College, Fairview Corners, and Cielo Vista. Beneath that, it says Sunny Slope agrees to not prevent or oppose city from applying for LAFCO written approval to LAFCO for written approval of the contractual agreement for sewer services, and requires Sunny Slope to indemnify the city from and against any liability or proceedings arising out of or resulting from LAFCO action or inaction taken in connection with the agreement, and Sunny Slope to work directly with Gavilan College, Fairview Corners, and Cielo Vista on project, and Gavilan College, Fairview Corners, and Cielo Vista will need to agree to a no contest future annexation to receive city wastewater services. Is that correct?
Isn't land lease supposed to be in there? I mean,
option 2 is written, is what I read.
Okay.
At this point, I don't.
Mayor?
Yes, please.
At least giving my thoughts initially, knowing that we do have a will serve letter that has been provided by Mr. Lee, I would like to add that as an addition or an amendment to it. And just for the record, I too don't think we need to have septic when we have the sewer system that is built as a regional sewer system treatment plant. And so I think we need to have Mr. Lee in on this. And I've never met Mr. Lee, just for the record.
Okay, so you've read it out, but again, we're just giving direction. We're not actually taking a vote. So do we need a roll call vote, or do we just give consent?
Typically, consensus doesn't require a vote. However, if you want it on the record, then we can go ahead and do that, and I would include who votes for and against it.
Would you recommend, if I asked for a roll call vote, she agreed to a roll call vote, that we can have a roll call vote? Is there any harm in doing that?
Your city attorney is not conflicted from this question, and I would turn it over to her.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine if you go down the line and get everybody's
Sure.
affirmative or negative.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, I have a question, if I may, I apologize. Councilmember,
I object. I'm sorry.
I-
Point of
I'm
order.
sorry, I
Public
don't-
comment is closed.
Yeah, Mayor,
Have a
this
seat.
public comment closed unless
I-
council invites her back up.
Sorry, I
then
wasn't
no.
sure who this was, so,
point of
okay.
order question.
It's the guy's attorney who gave you thousands of dollars.
Please stop that. That is rude.
It's a point of order question. It's not testimony. It's a point of order question.
Sorry you have
Okay.
to say that.
May I have a point of order question?
So, do we,
If we receive.
okay, please.
Here's the problem. If you open this back up for one person, you are opening it back up for everybody. So
Okay.
Mayor, you need to ask him to sit down if you don't want to do
Okay.
that.
I'm sorry, I'm not opening public comment back up. Sorry.
Ask the city
I'm sorry.
Madam Mayor, please, point of order.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Sir, you need to sit down. Go sit down. Beat it. Please. Thank you.
Okay. So can we take our vote, please?
Yes, this is for option 2 as read previously and also for inclusion of the lands of Lee. So Councilmember Perez,
Yes to 2.
including the addition for lands of Lee? Yes. Okay, thank you. Councilmember Resendez,
Absolutely not.
Councilmember Morales,
Yes.
Councilmember Burns,
Absolutely, yes.
and Mayor Casey.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to item F1.
Todavía no se termina. Vamos a hacer el otro.
So before we start the staff report, I believe, City Clerk, you said we had quite a few folks wanting to comment.
Mayor Casey, we currently have 25 public comments that have
Okay,
been
so
supported
just
or
to,
submitted for F1.
Just to clarify, you'll be given 2 minutes and rather than the usual 3 because we have so many people speaking. So just to give you a heads up on that. Unless you are, if you would require a translator and you'll be given double time.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a request, please.
What's your request, sir?
Thank you. I don't think we should give them 1 minute. These people came out of here.
I didn't
They don't
say
have
1 minute.
cars.
I said 2 minutes.
Excuse me, let me finish my point. They don't have cars. They don't speak the language. They made the effort to come out here. I don't think we should limit their time to not 1 minute, not 2 minutes, to give them their full 3 minutes. And if they speak a different language, they should be allowed 6 minutes. Thank you. That is my request.
Okay. Well, we talked about 2 minutes, and if you require additional time for translation, then you are allowed double time. What is the will of the council as far as the time? Thank you. 2. And Councilmember Burns?
I'm actually good with 3 and 3.
3 and, well, we'd have to do 3 and 6. We can't do
Yeah,
3 and 3.
3 and 3 for a total of up to 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree in this case.
Do you wanna-
And the nice thing is we're early enough in the meeting and.
There we
and-
are. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
All right.
fine. I absolutely agree with that.
Then we'll
Thank you.
keep it at 3 minutes. City Clerk? Okay,
Okay,
so go
thank
ahead
you.
and give the report. Thank you, William.
Ready? And we have Daisy assisting again on the translation.
Yeah, good
Thank you,
evening,
Daisy.
Mayor and members of council. Tonight, we'll be having, again, Public Works Director William Vaya give an update on this item. He'll be giving a verbal presentation, and then Ms. Daisy Casares will be providing translation of the presentation. William?
Good evening again, Mayor and council members. In 2008, an expansion and upgrade project was completed on the domestic wastewater treatment plant, which provided the city of Hollister the ability to treat domestic wastewater and produce recycled water.
En el 2008 se completó un proyecto de expansión que mejoraría la planta de tratamiento de aguas residuales domésticas que proporcionó a la ciudad de Hollister la capacidad de poder tratar las aguas domésticas y proporcionar agua reciclada.
The building moratorium caused by the lack of available capacity at the domestic wastewater treatment plant in place since 2002 was lifted as a result of this expansion and upgrade.
Como resultado de esta ampliación y se levantó un moratorio de construcción provocada por la falta de capacidad disponible en la ETAP vigilante, que ha sido vigilante desde 2002.
In 2016, 2 of the 4 membrane bioreactors at the domestic wastewater treatment plant were upgraded, increasing the ability to process wastewater in those 2 trains.
En el 2016, 2 de los 4 bioreactores de membrana, es el MBR, fueron actualizadas y esto aumentó la capacidad de procesar aguas residuales en esos 2 terrenos.
The 2 different MBR types, 2008 models and 2016 models, have caused a lack of coordination and communication between the 2 technologies, which has caused a limiting effect on the treatment capacity at the treatment plant.
Los 2 tipos de diferentes de MBRs, modelos del 2008 y modelo del 2016, han provocado una falta de coordinación y comunicación entre ambas tecnologías, lo que ha causado un efecto limitante de la capacidad del tratamiento del WWTP.
Prior to June of 2023, and still currently, the domestic wastewater treatment plant capacity per the WDR waste discharge requirements set by California's Regional Water Quality Control Board was 4 million gallons per day.
Antes de junio del 2023, la capacidad de esta planta, según los residuos de descarga de desechos establecido por lo que viene siendo el California Regional Water Quality Control Board, el RWQCB, estableció 4.4 millones de galones por día, y debido al conflicto con los 2 conjuntos del WDR, el conjunto de control estableció un nuevo WDR, que era el de la ciudad, en 3.4 millones de galones por día.
I think you got ahead of me a little bit. Due to the conflict with the 2 sets of MBRs, the city's new WDR will be set at 3.4 million gallons per day by the RWQCB, and that is still pending. That's not finalized yet. After a presentation on the treatment plan at the June 2023 City Council meeting, staff received direction to bring back an item to proceed with upgrading the 2 remaining MBRs, to commission a capacity study, a wastewater treatment master plan, and to replace manholes at connection sites in preparation for approved connections for the City of San Juan Bautista and the San Juan Oaks development.
Y después de una presentación sobre la planta de tratamiento en la reunión del Consejo Municipal del junio 20 del 2023, el personal recibió instrucciones para recuperar un elemento para poder mejorar los MBR restantes encargados en un estudio de capacidad, el cual un plan maestro de tratamiento de aguas residuales, y reemplazar el acceso de sitio de conexión y preparación para conexiones aprobadas por la ciudad de San Juan Bautista y San Juan Oaks.
By upgrading the two MBRs, it could, in theory, it could increase the future capacity to 6.8 million gallons per day, only if other improvements were made to the domestic wastewater treatment plant.
Al actualizar los dos MBRs, eso podría aumentar la capacidad futura a 6.8 MGDs y eso solo se realizaría si se hacen mejoras a la planta de tratamiento de agua.
These improvements will be identified via a capacity study.
Estas mejoras se identificarían a través de un estudio de capacidad.
Staff estimates the MBR upgrade would allow the capacity to increase to 5 million gallons per day without any additional improvements.
El personal estimula que la actualización del MBR permitiría o poder aumentar la capacidad a 5.00 MGDs sin mejoras adicionales.
In order to have a capacity of over 5 million gallons per day, the City of Hollister would be required by the RWQCB to implement an industrial pretreatment program.
Pero para poder tener una capacidad aumentada a 5.00 MGDs, la RWQCB requeriría que la ciudad implementara un programa de pretratamiento industrial.
The preliminary cost estimates for the study required to develop an industrial pretreatment program range from $100,000 to $500,000.
Los costos estimados preliminares para el estudio requerido para poder desarrollar un programa de pretratamiento industrial sería entre $100,000 a $500,000.
All increases in capacity is subject to approval by the RWQCB.
Todos los aumentos de capacidad están sujetos a la aprobación de la RWQCB.
A cost estimate for the MBRs was recently obtained from Veolia, who purchased the technology through mergers and acquisitions to upgrade these last two MBRs.
Recientemente se obtuvo un estimado del costo de los MBRs de Veolia, quien compró la tecnología a través de fusiones y adquisiciones para actualizar esos dos últimos MBRs.
Once upgraded, these two MBRs will be the same as the two already replaced, which will eliminate the lack of communication and coordination.
Y una vez actualizados esos dos, los MBRs serán los mismos, los cuales los dos ya fueron reemplazados, lo cual eliminaría la falta de comunicación y coordinación.
The cost estimate of $2.1 million includes materials, shipping, installation, and startup, and the amount requested includes a $400,000 contingency for unforeseen costs associated with the upgrades.
El costo estimado es de 2.1 millones, que incluye materiales, envío e instalación, y la cantidad solicitada incluye una contingencia de $400,000 por costos imprevistos asociados con la actualización.
The need for communication and coordination between all of the MBR trains requires that all of the technology be the same and compatible, which makes the MBR upgrade a sole source item.
La necesidad de comunicación y coordinación entre los MBRs requiere que la tecnología sea la misma y compatible, lo que hace que las actualizaciones de los MBRs sea un elemento importante.
The cost estimate for the capacity study and wastewater treatment master plan is $105,000.
El costo estimado del estudio de capacidad y plan para el tratamiento de aguas residuales es de $105,000.
Staff will contract with an on-call engineering firm to commission the study.
Y el personal contratará a una empresa de ingeniería de guardia para encargar al estudio.
William, if I may, we did receive correspondence today regarding this item, and so it's been made public to the Board of the City Council, and will be placed in the record regarding CEQA on this project. And so, in looking at the EIR, the project originally was studied to 5 million gallons per day was the original EIR. As William has mentioned, that this would allow the capacity. Anything over 5 would require additional equipment, additional study work, and that would show whether additional CEQA would be required or not. So that would all be part of the process. But the original EIR studied out to a phase 2 of 5.0 in 2023.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, that was my last note, so that concludes my report.
Okay, so let's take questions. Councilmember Burns, would you like to start?
Thank you, Mayor. I have no questions.
Councilmember Resendez, do you have some questions?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do have some questions. So what is the current capacity? What are we currently permitted for?
Currently 4.0.
Okay. And what are we currently processing?
About 2.65.
Okay. So we're permitted by the state to process 4.0 million of gallons per day, and we only use 2.6 millions of gallons per day. What's the sense of urgency? I'm trying to figure this out in my head. So I guess if the developments that are not pending, that are all around the city, within the county, would we be looking at expanding the capacity, or would you advise us to take another approach before doing that?
I would advise replacing both of these two older MBR trains. They're at the end of their useful life. They're 15 years old.
Okay.
Whether we were adding new homes, new developments or not, it's just a smart thing to do. It creates redundancy when all 4 trains are the same.
Let me rephrase my question. Let's say they're brand new. The 2 MBRs are brand new, right? Let's say everything's working fine now. Let's take that out of the equation, right? Would you recommend doing the capacity study and the wastewater study before adding more sewer if those houses weren't even in the equation?
I would.
Okay.
Just to be prepared for the future.
Okay. So the real reason we're doing this is to add more homes to the sewer capacity, right?
That's not my reason for doing it.
All right. Well, I know whose it is. Again, and I know you made mention of this earlier, I just want to be very clear. You gave us a long answer, a long, thorough answer, but the mayor is quoted in Bonito Link saying that we can only, that this money is earmarked specifically to expand the capacity of the sewer or to maintain it. Is it not true that one of the usages of those millions of dollars is to pay down the debt?
So it's a short paragraph, so I'm just going to read it.
Okay.
So in our municipal code, section 13.04.330, and it is under fees and charges, Article 6, entitled Deposit and Use of Funds. All connection fees, service charges, collection charges, and special sewer fees, except as hereinafter specifically provided, shall be credited and deposited to the Sanitary Sewer Expansion Fund to be used for the payment of sewer bonds heretofore and or hereafter issued for the acquisition, construction, completion, and improvement of public sewers, sewage works, sewage treatment plants, and related appurtenances, excuse my pronunciation, and for the cost of maintenance and operation of public sewers, sewage works, sewer treatment plants, and related appurtenances. All inspection fees shall be credited and deposited to the general fund.
Thank you. So the answer is yes, and that would lower down your sewer bill instead of adding to the problems. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Nothing. Okay. I had a couple of questions. One was, I thought when we had given direction last time, we had talked about the biosolids handling and bringing that back because that would allow us to create compost and divert from the landfill. Is that something, did I miss that, or are we bringing that later?
That will come back later at another time.
Okay.
That study is not finalized yet.
Okay, and just to clarify, as far as the production that we have right now, I know that we are So we are able to do 4.0, but actually because the two sets of reactors or membranes don't work together, what is our actual maximum flow rate that we can do right now? It's like 3.4 million
Well,
gallons per day. Is that?
The new general permit that we're going to be under, it's not finalized yet with the water board, is listing us at 3.4, but that's not finalized yet either.
Okay.
And their reasoning for reducing us from 4.0 to 3.4 is because of these two different types
Because
of
they're not
MBRs.
working together correctly.
Correct.
And you mentioned the two older membranes. So I think I asked you this last time, but they have about a 15-year lifespan. Is that correct? And we're at 15 years, so we're getting pretty close.
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's all the questions I have. I think we could.
I do have a follow-up question, Madam Mayor.
Sure.
Thank you. So if we buy these two MBRs, according to the state permit, what would we be allowed to process then?
We would have to apply for an upgrade to our maximum capacity. Without a pretreatment plan, an industrial pretreatment program, we could only go to 5.0 or possibly only 4.9, and then so currently the bottleneck, if you will, at the plant is these MBR trains. That's where our capacity is pinched down right now, and per the water board, 3.4 million gallons per day. Once we upgrade that will no longer be the bottleneck, but there likely will be another bottleneck somewhere because the plant was designed for 5 million gallons.
Let's say
per
there
day.
was no bottlenecks. What is the state going to allow us to process then? What's the number for the permit?
With just upgrading these two MBRs,
Yes, sir.
I would say probably, but I can't say for sure, probably 5 million
So
gallons
we went
a
from
day.
3.4, and then if we buy these two MBRs, I thought it was 6.7 in the last presentation.
So the MBRs would be able to process, just doing the math, 6.8 million
Okay.
gallons per day, but other parts of the plant aren't designed to process that
I
much.
understand that. So double the capacity.
Of the MBR trains, correct.
Thank you.
Okay. If we're done with comments, then we could go to public comment.
Okay, the first speaker we have is Shelley Geisler, followed by Miriam Castillo. And if you can go ahead and start coming forward as we start calling your names, that'll help us move more quickly. So Shelley Geisler, followed by Miriam Castillo.
And if we could, if folks need translation, Daisy can provide translation from right here. We would just need to put 6 minutes on the clock.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Shelley Geisler. I've lived in Hollister for 50 years. Excuse me. My concern is my bill. Already, a single family pays over $80, we do, a month, and that's just for sewer. So I was concerned. I went online, and I was interested in what some surrounding communities are paying. Hollister is above Gilroy, Salinas, Monterey. In fact, the city of Hollister has one of the highest sewer bills in the state of California. So I like this sign.
Ms. Geisler, if you can speak into the microphone so that I can hear you for the minutes, please.
I don't want to pay for what's happening outside of the city of Hollister. You know, I feel my bill is high enough, and I'm concerned about it. I'm just wondering how much higher it's going to go. So that's all I have to say.
The next,
Thank you.
I will keep reading out names, so I'm going to need you guys to be able to, everyone else to be able to hear it. So followed, Miriam Castillo, followed by Irene Gomez.
My name is Miriam Ramirez Castillo. And
Can you pull the microphone down, please?
I had been in this county for 23 years, and I had been paying $86 and some cents for whether I'm leaving the house or the house is closed or whatever. So $86. And I only have one bathroom. I cannot have many people in my house because I only have one bathroom. Anyway, if somebody comes to my house, they have to go to the bushes somewhere. Anyway, so I agree with what she's saying. How much longer do I have to pay for somebody's water? I wanted to build a little kitchen in the studio. They did not allow me to do that, but they're building huge houses, 3 and 4 bedrooms and bathrooms. And then they can manage, they can be able to build that, but I cannot do that. And I need some little income to survive, but I cannot do that. They don't give me permission to do that. So what is this all about? Okay, another thing that I have a concern is the sewage is a problem. So we're here to say we don't want more extensions. And traffic is terrible. I don't even go out because I don't want to deal with traffic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Irene Gomez, followed by Mary Graham.
Good evening. My name is Irene Gomez, and I've been living in Hollister for 28 years. And I am a single mother of 2, and I'm coming here to say that I am tired of driving the traffic on 25. I am tired of driving, getting to my house, and breathe the smell of poop. And also, I am tired that developers fill their pockets with money when I can barely make it.
Yes.
I am tired. Thank you. Rick, thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Mary Grimm, followed by Martin Gonzalez.
Mayor, City Council. My name is Mary Grimm. I live at 31 Brandy Court. I have 3 concerns related to increasing the capacity of the sewage treatment facility. 1, health and safety. Will increasing the capacity of the sewage treatment facility to accommodate sewage from other areas increase the health and safety risks in the surrounding residential areas? Has a health risk study been done to determine the impact of the increased sewage treatment facility capacity on the surrounding residential neighborhoods? The National Institute of Health indicates that when you could smell an odor, you're actually breathing in those molecules. Have you had dialogue with the residents living near the sewage treatment facility to determine the effects of having the sewage treatment facility nearby? Sewage water contains bacteria and diseases. Has there been a wastewater surveillance study for Hollister's wastewater to determine diseases like COVID-19, etc., present in the wastewater? If one has been done, is the report available? Is it available in both English and Spanish? If a wastewater surveillance study has not been done, why not? When can we, the residents of Hollister and taxpayers, expect a wastewater analysis to be done? The California Department of Public Health and the California State Water Resources Control Board together are coordinating with several wastewater utilities, local health departments, universities, and labs in California on wastewater surveillance. Hollister is not on the list of those areas in California that are participating in this wastewater surveillance effort. Why not? What is the environmental impact? What is the environmental impact of increasing the capacity of the sewage treatment facility? Has an environmental impact study been done on the effects of increasing the capacity of the sewage treatment facility? If an environmental impact study has been done, is the report available? Is it available in both English and Spanish? If an environmental impact study has not been done, why not? And when can we, the residents and taxpayers, expect an environmental impact study to be done? Number 3, cost. Has a cost analysis been done to determine the increased cost over time of the increased capacity of the sewage treatment facility to the current residents of Hollister? If there has been a cost analysis, is the report available? Is it available in English and Spanish? If a cost analysis determining the increased cost to the current residents of Hollister has not been done, why not? When can we, the residents of Hollister and current taxpayers, expect a cost analysis to be done? The cost analysis should include the amount the housing developers are paying and what the actual cost is to provide the access to the sewage treatment facility and why there is a discrepancy in cost. There should be no cost to the current residents of Hollister. Any increased costs should be paid for by any new housing developments approved by the City Council and the new residents who
Thank
move
you.
into that housing, especially those developments located outside of Hollister. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Martin Gonzalez, followed by Mary Cruz Ordaz Diaz.
Can you put 6 minutes, please? Y yo necesito alguien que me traduzca. Mi pregunta es, ¿cuándo se unió el condado con Hollister? Si antes todo el tiempo era dividido, ahora ¿por qué quieren incluirlo? Ahora que se están haciendo, porque ya Hollister no puede crecer, el que está creciendo es el cable.
Señor Martín, tiene que translatar ella, por favor.
Sorry.
Poco a poco.
So he's asking, when did the county join the city of Hollister? If they've always been separate.
Ya, contesten. No oigan,
No
contesten.
podemos contestar cuando está alguien hablando de allí. Disculpe, señor.
Ok. La otra pregunta es lo que estaba diciendo. ¿Por qué lo incluyeron y nomás así lo deciden ustedes? ¿O a quién le pidieron decisión para eso?
His other question is, who decided for the county to join the city?
Yeah.
And who did they ask for that permission?
Porque lo que quieren incluir a Hollister, a la ciudad, es lo del condado. Si lo de la ciudad ya nos costó a nosotros por muchos años, y ahora para que incluyan el condado, casas del condado, sur del condado, ¿qué pasa?
So it's already cost the city a lot of money, and now that you want to merge the county in, what happens?
Ajá. Otra pregunta. Si ya se decidió o está no se decide, esas casas que van a ser para San Juan no, y para San Juan Bautista, ¿a dónde va a ir esa agua también? El agua, o el agua cochina. ¿A dónde va a ir?
So
A Hollister.
if it was decided, or it's still being decided, where is the wastewater from San Juanex going?
En la otra pregunta, como dijimos, el tráfico ya está hasta el tope. Ajá. Antes de tomar esas decisiones, piensen en ustedes, en sus hijos, son los que van a sufrir. Con otros tenemos todo el olor hediondo de las aguas cochinas allá. Si no viven para allá, vayan y dense una vueltita, los invitamos para que sepan. Entonces sí, y no es para que se rían.
Denme un segundito.
Si se enferman, okay.
Oh. Ya se me olvidó qué dijo.
No.
Para los hijos y para
He's,
la futuro y que van para allá.
He mentioned to make your decisions thinking about your children in the future. And for those that haven't visited the west side of Hollister, he's inviting you to go visit the west side of Hollister.
Yeah. Ole espantoso.
And that it stinks.
Es todo. Y piénselo antes de decidir las cosas.
Please think before you decide.
The next public speaker is Mary Cruz Ordaz Diaz, followed by Rosemary Sanchez.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Maricruz Ordaz de Díaz. Estoy aquí representando a la colonia de nuestra área, porque cuando hace mucha calor sale el aroma muy fuerte.
Good afternoon. She's here representing the west side area of Hollister. During the summer, the odor is really bad.
Cuando está muy caliente sale el aroma por los lavamanos, las tinas del baño y también toda la colonia huele muy mal.
During the summer, the smell of the sewage comes through the faucets. The whole west side of Hollister stinks really bad.
Y yo pienso que la ciudad debería de pensar que si ellos vivieran ahí, estarían representando como hoy nosotros aquí estamos diciendo no más alcantarillado. Que estamos aquí para decir no más alcantarillado, no más drenaje al área de allí.
They're here to say no more sewage problems or sewer in the west side of Hollister.
Pues yo pienso que primero, antes que nada, deben de pensar en el perjuicio para la salud, no nada más para nosotros, sino para toda la ciudad.
And something to keep in mind is the health problems that this may cause, not just for them, but everyone in the city.
Como hoy que llovió, este año llovió mucho, como se comentaba, no hay la suficiente, pues no tienen lo suficientes como para que corra todo el drenaje.
Like this.
En una inundación, no nada más vamos a nadar nosotros en mierda, no nada más vamos a nadar nosotros allí, sino toda la ciudad.
We had a rainy season, so there is not a lot of drainage. So not only are they going to be in sewage, but the whole city is going to be covered in sewage, swimming in sewage.
Hoy no vinieron todas las personas porque están trabajando. Nada más venimos unas cuantas a decir no más alcantarillado.
Not everyone was able to make it today because a lot of them are working, but the ones that are here to say no more sewage.
Y no más tráfico.
And no more traffic.
No más casas.
No more houses.
Buenas noches, gracias.
Thank you.
The next public speaker is Rosemary Sanchez, followed by Delia Duran.
She pretty much said everything I wanted to say to you guys.
The next public speaker is Delia Duran, followed by Griselda Contreras. I don't know what Paul is.
D, we're gonna bring you, Dalia,
Ma'am.
we're gonna bring you a microphone. So we'll come over there with the microphone so they can hear you. We can't hear you unless you have a microphone. Ahorita vienen.
We'll come back to you, Ms. Duran. We'll go ahead and have Griselda Contreras, followed by Carly Robles.
Hi, Griselda. I'm here on behalf of my parents, my mom, my dad. My dad couldn't make it because he's probably stuck in traffic. But I want to say that all of us here are representing the West Side. And just like Martin said, if you haven't been to the West Side, you probably drove by the West Side and you probably smelled something. And it's not nice to smell it. And we have to deal with that for, now it must be 20 years that we lived in that house. And sometimes we want to go outside, but my son can say, what does that smell? I can't even have a little picnic outside because it smells outside. How many of you guys live in the West Side, a mile radius? We all do here. 2 mile radius, 3 mile radius. You guys should go to the West Side, ask for their opinion to say yes or no on expanding the sewage for somebody outside of Hollister. Not your voice, but theirs. Sorry, I had notes. And right now, you guys are going to build a community outside of Hollister and expand our sewage. Unfortunately, my parents' house is right in front of the location that it's going to go. So that just means that the odor's going to get worse. Waking up to go to the bathroom in the morning and smelling it in the pipes, it's disgusting. So you're not just going in and using the bathroom, you're also inhaling those odors, those chemicals. And I agree, you should do a health survey and ask the West Side of Hollister what kind of illnesses do they have that's created by these chemicals, by these odors. That's what I ask of you today. Don't think about yourself and what you're going to benefit. Ask them. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is going to be Delia Duran, followed by Carly Robles.
Hi, my name's Delia Duran, and I also live on the west side of town. I've been in this town for 69 years, and never have I seen it this bad. The sewer system is bad, the traffic is bad, everything's bad. Well, it used to take me 5 minutes to go to my doctor's office across town, like it takes me 20 minutes, and I'm disabled. You know, that doesn't help us. But not only that, where do you live? How would you like the sewer pond in your backyard so you can smell it? That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
The next public speaker is Carly Robles, followed by Vicky Montoya.
Hi, Carly Robles. This is the Code of Ordinance from the Code of Ordinances number 13.04.330, deposit and use of funds. This code says we can use the millions of dollars in the sewer system account to pay down for sewer bonds. This would lower Hollister's bill and all of our bills. In the Bonito Link article, Mayor Mia Casey stated that the money has to be used for sewer infrastructure or she could be penalized, and that is a blatant lie. It can be used to pay down our sewer debts, lower our sewer bills, and lower our costs, instead of expanding it for developers, giving it away to developers, giving it to San Juan Oaks at half the price because they're supposedly seniors with low income, even though they're $1 million homes. They were given hookups at $4,500 instead of $9,000 because they're considered low-income seniors. And I don't know whose back got scratched for that one. Mayor Mia Casey, I'm getting tired of the lies. Just so many lies. It's hard to know what to believe when you talk, what comes out of your mouth. You were put into office by developers. You're paid by developers. You've admitted taking money from developers. Whether you gave it back or not, you give it back in December. The election ends in November. I call that more of a loan, not really giving it back. Our sewer system needs to stay in Hollister. There's no reason for us to be caving in to Lee subdivision because he threatens to sue us if he doesn't get his way. And Gavilan College, when it first started, was fine with the septic system. What happened with that? All of a sudden now they want sewer because Fairview Corners gets sewer and Sierra Vista gets sewer. So why are we just giving sewer away to everyone? This is our sewer system. We pay for it. They don't. We're going to be stuck left with the bill after they build their houses and build their college. I deal with the college here. After they build everything, they're going to leave, and the sewer system is stuck in Hollister. We're left to pay for it. We're left for the upkeep and any problems it has. And I think you should really consider just keeping the sewer system to the residents of Hollister and stop lying, Dolores and Mia.
The next public speaker is Vicky Montoya, followed by Bella Rosales.
Okay, I'm not going to have any solutions or answers or questions, but here is what I'm here for. I am what do you call it? One that wants to give volunteer work, and what I am going to offer today, that I liked, forget your last name, to get in contact with me. I'm willing to do a survey for free, knock on every door on West Side, and find out about the plumbing, because what I found today, I'm not the only one that's having problems with water. So if I find out that 2 or 3 people are having a problem, in order to have a proof, somebody has to do the work, and it doesn't take money to do it. As long as it's legally done and brought in the right way. And so I'm saying it in public. My name is Victoria Montoya, and I speak both languages, and I'm willing to walk it, and I like to talk and walk at the same time. So my deal is, if you guys take my offer, take my name down, I will do the hours, and I can take 2 or 3 months, but I can get the job done. And I will probably ask for another person to go with me, because the best time to get contacts is after they get from work and on weekends. And depends on the timing, because I did the walking and talking when I tried to run for mayor, and I found out it is fun, but you have to plan your timing. So take my name down and remember who I am. I don't like to be paid because I am proud of where I live, and I've been forced to live here. So I want to work for nothing. so I can have my proof that it doesn't take a lot, just takes time. So, and what's going on right now, it is not new. It was done from other city council members way back, over 20 years. I've been gone, and I remember the game that started way back. So this is not new. It just got bigger.
The next public speaker is Bella Rosales, followed by John Robles.
First, I'd like to ask if my comment can be translated to Spanish because my comment wouldn't be possible without the Spanish-speaking neighbors who are here today. I'm here to represent the residents of West Side of Hollister, and I brought a letter with me that I'll give to the city clerk to be passed out to the council.
Estoy aquí para representar al West Side de Hollister.
First, I'd like to thank everyone who came together to write this letter.
Primeramente, le quería dar las gracias a todos los que se juntaron para escribir esa carta.
In this letter, several neighborhood groups have compiled a list of concerns and reasons why we oppose your plan to spend millions of dollars to double Hollister sewage capacity just so that you can build thousands of houses right outside of Hollister.
I'm going to need you to repeat that in a second, okay? En esta carta compusimos una lista de preocupaciones y
reasons why we oppose your plan to spend millions of dollars.
Y nuestras razones por las cuales nos oponemos a gastar millones de dólares
to double Hollister sewage capacity just so that you can build thousands of houses right outside of Hollister.
Para
Okay.
Para aumentar el número de la cantidad de drenaje.
So among this list of concerns is why you want to expand the sewer in the first place when during the June 20th council meeting, the sewage expert said we have enough capacity for many years.
Entre algunas de las preocupaciones es por qué quieren aumentar la cantidad permitida de drenaje cuando el experto en drenaje dijo que tenemos suficiente capacidad.
So who is this expansion really for? Because it's not for us.
Entonces, ¿para quién es esta extensión si en realidad no es para nosotros?
It's for the developers who want their projects built, and it's for those of you who vote to approve those projects, which equals money in your pockets.
Es para esos que quieren construir developers and
projects.
Proyectos.
And for the people who vote to
y
approve
para
those
las
projects.
personas que votaron en favor de esos proyectos.
Which equal money in their pockets.
Lo cual equivale a dinero en sus bolsillos.
But you should be representing us, not them.
Pero ustedes deberían estar representando a nosotros, no a ellos.
So today, thank you. So today, when you cast your vote, who is it you'll be representing?
So ahora que van a dar su voto, ¿a quién es que van a estar representando?
If it's us, then you'll vote no.
Si es a nosotros, entonces votará no.
Thank you.
The next public speaker is John Robles, followed by Sam Ramos.
Good evening. My name's John, and I'm going to talk about some positive things. And it's going to be kind of a 10,000-foot view of what we're seeing here, kind of a big sky approach. And then I'm going to tie it up into a nice little bow. So, Councilman Resendez, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for voting for the community, with the community in mind. I want to thank you for staying true to your constituents, not just on the west side, but everywhere. I want to thank you for doing the right thing. I want to thank you for enduring repressive tactics from others in an attempt to silence your voice. And more importantly, I want to thank you for not being puppets or a puppet to the developers.
Thank you.
By contrast, I would like to uncongratulate your peers for increasing the city debt. It's my understanding that the last administration had cut the city debt by millions. Where are we on that right now as of today? Just an open question there. You're placing residents in a position where sewer rates will go up. Let me talk a little bit more about that. Let's talk about developers. There's some in this room, representatives, what have you. They're pleading their case, very organized. Here's the thing. They're not our friends. They don't give a rat's tail about the people who live in Hollister proper or even in the county. They're here to make money, and that's understandable. But make no mistake, they're not our friends, and the people in this room at home should understand that. My last point to the council. You are under a microscope of scrutiny right now. And unfortunately for you, I do not think it's going to get any easier for you. I can see the flames coming. You have the media here, and it's all out there to see. So consider that friendly advice. You may want to listen to these people back here and listen to your constituents and not the developers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next public speaker is Sam Ramos, followed by Julio Rodriguez.
I'm Samuel Ramos, and I've got dual credentials because I've been here for more than 50 years. I have the university, I finished the university education, and I also have the credentials that you wear in your hands. They're called calluses, and I work in the fields here. So I did the topping, the picking, the pruning, and so forth. So, I'm also Native American, and my ancestry goes from the south tip of Argentina to the northern part of Alaska, and we were here all the time. And it saddens me to see my people being ignored. And the other thing is that these people in Hollister, which are mainly working people, they're the ones that have kept the economy of this San Benito County, you see. And they're the ones that voted you in, you see. And what's happening? Why are we being castigated, you see? When I would think that you would be working for our people. Y los que hablan español que conocen la cultura, pónganse las pilas, carnal. Man, this is bad news for us, And I don't understand how, Luis Prieto, one of my friends from the west side, we worked together at Ferry Morris. He came to here with a fourth grade education from Mexico, and he bought a house. And our young people can't even rent a house, even if you have a master's degree or a PhD. Why? Why aren't these guys building, homes for, low-income homes, so that our people like students and people that are just starting, they're getting married, can have a home, And this is also something that creates a lot of disease because of the depression that it brings with like this sewer system thing, that's supposed to be doubled, and the price is going up and like that everywhere with everything. And I hope that you take this into account. That our people are working people, and they're more like essential workers, but they can't get a home. We're working for people from the outside, which is cool, because we don't want a monopoly on this land or housing, but I mean, we're not even being considered, I mean, that's a fact, and it saddens me. I taught here for 33 years. I was a teacher, and I see my students, now that cannot even rent a home because they're so high, you see. Please, please, please take that into account. I have a letter from, I belong to the the San Benito, Protect San Benito. I've been a member, and I have a letter from the lawyer that, I'll give it to the.
The next public speaker is Julio Rodriguez, followed by Bill Hunter.
I would just like to thank the Politburo for letting me speak. I say that somewhat sarcastically, but I go to school for urban studies and planning, as most of you know, and I understand how institutions can drive your decisions. And I understand that there's money that needs to be spent. But you're operating in a framework where the institutions that you are a part of also, I believe, blinds your judgment. And that's something that actually I've learned while going to school, is we're so focused on this money that at the end of the day, you're really here to represent the people. And I do think that it is an environmental injustice to the residents that reside on the west side. And I mean, they've said it smells. And I would like, I don't know, I'm just begging the question. I wonder the EIR that approved the sewage plant in the first place. And my question is was there an environmental justice aspect to that report? And if there wasn't, I think perhaps we should conduct a study or something like that. I know more studies, but I do think it's important because the residents are. It's a fair statement. I live in District 4, and I can tell you right now, if there was going to be a sewage plant over there, I think I'd be pretty frustrated as well. So I just really urge the council to look at or to listen to the constituents of Roland's district. And thank you.
Thank you.
The next public speaker is Bill Hunter, followed by Giselle Morris.
Well, I feel pretty fortunate I don't have to pay sewer bills. I live over in San Juan Bautista in the county. But it appears that promises have been made. And if I'm not mistaken, we have been threatened with litigation if those promises are not kept. Now, I wish whoever made those promises would have to pay the penalty, not us. So, there's a lot of speculation as to why you make some of the decisions. And you need to represent us. We don't need more growth. People that have to commute back and forth, how are they going to do it? So you got to do better, or we've got to get you out and get people in that will.
The next public speaker is Giselle Morris, followed by Mary Shaw Corin.
Okay. Hello. My name is Giselle Morris. I'm going to be a senior at Hollister High School, and I've lived here my whole life. I've lived on the west side of Hollister my entire life, so I just want to talk to you guys a bit. I stand before you today to voice my concerns about the proposed expansion of our sewer system. While I understand the importance of infrastructure development, we must carefully consider the implications. The expansion would mean that residents on the west side of Hollister, including myself, will be forced to live next to sewage ponds emitting unpleasant odors that may not only impact our quality of life, but raises health and environmental concerns. Moreover, I find it unjust that the entire city would shoulder the financial burden of expanding sewage capacity, primarily for the benefit of luxury homes located outside of Hollister. Our resources should be directed towards improving the lives of our residents and maintaining the integrity of our community. People have lived here for decades. I implore this council to prioritize generations. I implore the council to prioritize the well-being of all residents and assess the potential impacts on our neighborhood before moving forward with this expansion. Let's ensure that our decisions reflect fairness, sustainability, and the genuine needs of Hollister residents. Thank you.
The next public speaker is Mary Shaw Corin, followed by Andy Shaw Corin. I did. So, yes, as I mentioned, so we need to keep it moving, so I'm going to be calling out the names. So following Mary Shaw Corin is Andy Shaw Corin.
Okay. Hi. I just wanted to let you know that our attorney from Shoot Mahaly Weinberger wrote a letter to you folks. They pointed out, I haven't read in great detail, I think Sam, who's a member of our group, submitted it. So it's written on behalf of Protect San Bernardino County. The reason we did that is because we are concerned that there's no environmental impact analysis. So there's no CEQA done. And in fact, our attorney, I was just glancing at the letter, points out that this city council violated the CEQA laws by approving San Juan Oaks and even San Juan Batista at the prior meeting, June 20th. I want to make it clear that our group supports the extension to San Juan Batista because we feel that that was kind of an emergency situation. We were not supporting the San Juan Oaks extension because that is to luxury homes. And we also do not support a lot of this stuff that you just approved, which is to Fairview Corners. We would support Gavilan College, but I think that you guys or the developers created a tidy package to kind of, you know, they put a lot of stuff in that was really, they felt hard to get past. So they put Gavilan College in there with all these other developments to try to get it passed. And I think that it's really irresponsible of you folks to constantly, so far, everything you've approved lately has been for outside of Hollister. And I really think that you should be thinking, you should be really working for the residents of Hollister. It seems like you're working for the developers more than the residents. And I think that's really, really irresponsible. I want to point out a fact that I just researched, which is the residents of Hollister, it took a few years to build the new sewage facility. It took, I think they finished it in 2008. I read an article about this. It cost $120 million, the bond. And the county supervisors were asked to help pay for it. They said, no, we don't want to help. And I believe the Sunny Slope Water District, the people who take care of the Ridgemark sewage treatment now and Cielo Vista, all the people who want to be part of Hollister's sewage system now, they said no also. So I really think it's pretty irresponsible of you folks to allow that unless you charge them a huge amount of money, way more than what you just talked about. I think that you should keep the Hollister sewage system for Hollister residents. So please vote no on the sewer expansion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next public speaker is Andy Shaw Corin, followed by Maureen Nelson.
Good evening. I just want to also underscore that our attorneys, Shoot Mahaly and Weinberger, said that you have to not only evaluate the impact of expanding the sewer system, but all the development that it enables, and that you have to actually evaluate the impact of that as well under CEQA. So we hired our attorneys to lay out what our concerns were. And basically, you have to do a whole bunch more before you can even consider granting these service to people outside of Hollister. And essentially, whether you've called it a regional treatment facility in the past or not, it hasn't been. And what you're doing is you're making it into a regional facility, and you have to evaluate what is the impact of creating a regional facility and what will it do to the environment of the whole area. Now, what is it doing? I don't live in Hollister, but most of my friends do. And when a few years ago, when I was causing trouble in this county, trying to stop oil development in this county, it would take me 20 minutes to meet my friends here in Hollister. Often now, it takes me an hour and 20 minutes. And people don't go anywhere. They decide not to go anywhere on weekends. You're going to impact the tourist economy, you're going to impact the agricultural economy, and you're impacting the quality of people's lives because they cannot go and see their kids play soccer or baseball. They can't go for a nice evening out because they come so late home. That's what's happening when you essentially create a regional sewage facility that enables massive growth throughout this county. It deteriorates the quality of life of people. It challenges the water supplies. And it may very well be that it makes more sense not to have septic systems and massive developments around the county. Then you shouldn't be making massive developments around the county and paving over one of the most important agricultural valleys in California and destroying one of the most beautiful areas around. Nobody wants to have a situation where they're living in one massive gridlock while they smell sewage from a massive expanded sewer system. You're putting the cart before the horse. You've got to evaluate a lot more before you make these kinds of decisions. Thank you.
The next public speaker is Maureen Nelson, followed by Mary Zanger. Okay, followed by Mary Lopez.
Good evening. My name's Maureen Nelson. I'm a resident of San Benito County. So I just want to educate you, not as a degrading mark, but to let you know that when you have a wastewater treatment plant, that it does emit a large number of very odorous compounds. They include, but not limited to, hydrogen sulfide, organic sulfur compounds, organic aldehydes and ketones, ammonia and amines, and chlorinated VOCs, volatile organic compounds. These are known to be cancer-causing chemicals. This is also an environmental injustice. Our water treatment plant is on the west side in what is notably known as a lower disadvantaged community. That's disgraceful. Do you think that a water treatment plant would be acceptable in Ridgemark or at the new homes that are going in on the back side that one of my friends here is watching? No, they don't want it. They understand the hazards associated with it, but you are putting it upon citizens of this county who have been here for their life, their families' lives, and you're endangering their health. For what? For a few more houses that don't need to be here? We're an agricultural community. San Benito County was one of the largest agricultural communities. We are paving over our agricultural lands. We're creating problems with our drainage because we no longer have resources to absorb the water that we're thankful to get. We no longer have the food to feed our country because we are putting in houses for rich millionaires. Is that really what we need? Is that what our county is about? Our county is agricultural. Let's get back to our basics. Let's honor our heritage and let's respect our neighbors. Environmental injustice is not a game, and it's being played on the west side. Thank you.
The next speaker is Mary Lopez, followed by Frank Aguayo.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es María López. He sido una ciudadana de Hollister por más de 50 años. Aquí tuve mis hijos, mis nietos y bisnietos. Yo aquí...
Mary, si puedes parar para que ella pueda translatar, está bien, tienes 6 minutos.
Do you mind if I translate it myself?
No porque te quiten el tiempo. Habla en español
Okay,
mejor.
got it. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Get ready. Okay. Okay. Y en todo el tiempo que he estado yo aquí, desde el 68, permanentemente desde el 73, he visto proyectos de residencias que supuestamente...
Can I pause you real quick?
Okay.
Ever since I've been here since 1968 and more permanently since 1973, I've seen projects.
Housing projects.
Housing projects.
Ajá. Donde eran para, supuestamente, eran para bajos ingresos, familias de bajos ingresos.
Where supposedly these projects were for low-income housing.
Okay. Y si se fijan todos ustedes, ¿dónde decidieron poner o establecer esas viviendas?
And if you all notice where they decided to put or establish all these housings,
Eran en lugares donde no querían que nadie los vieran.
it was in places where they didn't want anyone to see them.
Okay. Un ejemplo. On Riverview by Southside, en ese lugar es donde venían las aguaceras torrenciales, the raging rains that were back in the 19 whatever. Anyway, there were rains like thunderstorms that washed out the river. Okay, y allí fueron donde establecieron una vivienda para las gentes de bajos ingresos.
And that's where they put low-income housing.
Y también en el West Side, donde nadie, they call it VH, Villahermosa, donde están allá afuera, donde no era el lugar más apropiado, pero donde podían poner a gente de bajos ingresos y que no iban a hablar y decir nada.
And also on the west side of Hollister, not the best location, but it was in a location where no one would see it and no one would say anything.
Y la gente mexicana o de bajos ingresos o de representación más baja,
In the Latino community, the minorities,
nunca nos quejábamos
we never complained.
porque estábamos agradecidos que teníamos un hogar con 4 paredes y un techo.
Because we were grateful that we had a home, 4 walls and a roof.
Ok. Ahora, esto es lo que está pasando otra vez.
Now this is what's happening again.
Ujú. Vamos a abrir, y hace tiempo, el último drenaje. Yo aquí, desde ese día estuve yo aquí cuando hicieron ese sewer system, ese drenaje. Estuve aquí en esta sala y jamás he vuelto para atrás. Muy decepcionada con el council.
I was here the last time that council agreed on the last sewer treatment plant, and since then I have not been back. I've been very disappointed with that council.
And today y hoy no ha cambiado nada.
And today nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. Nothing. Just the characters are different, but everything is still the same. Todos igual. Echen todo allá, o donde la gente que no se queja,
Put everything over there where people don't complain.
all the crappy stuff, todo la basura, donde nadie se queja, pero ahora es un día nuevo.
Everything where no one complains, but today is a new day.
Okay. En aquel entonces, cuando estaban los proyectos comenzando a invadir el condado de San Benito,
Back then, when those projects were starting to invade San Benito County,
yo fui una de las personas impactadas.
I was one of those that were impacted.
Hubo un moratorio, donde yo fui a pedir construir un baño extra.
There was a moratorium, and I went to go ask to build one extra bathroom, to get permitted for one extra
Me lo
bathroom.
negaron.
I was denied.
Pero las casas nuevas alrededor
But all the new houses around
tenían 3 o más.
had 3 or more.
Did I not get 6 minutes?
That was
Ma'am, you received 6 minutes.
I did? Okay. Oh, gosh. Well, I got a lot more to say, but anyway.
Thank you.
The next public speaker
Sorry.
is Frank Aguayo, followed
I'll save it
by
for-
MJ Frankel. Frank Aguayo, followed by MJ Frankel. Both of them gone? Okay, next is Leslie Jordan. Yeah, Leslie Jordan. And then followed that, we'll have on Zoom Terry Thompson.
Mayor Casey, Council, thank you very much. I am Leslie Jordan, the Mayor of San Juan Bautista. First, San Juan Bautista very much appreciates you all approving the connection between the city of San Juan Bautista and Hollister Last Thursday, the city of San Juan Bautista approved a $22 million project to send its wastewater from the city of San Juan Bautista to the city of Hollister. We will be paying a $2.4 million connection fee, and the residents will be paying over $80 a month in their wastewater bills. My point exactly. Just like everybody in the city of Hollister. This was all done with LAFCO approval and a neg deck through a notice of determination. I also wanted to just say that based on all of the comments before you this evening, it's really nervy up here on this side of the dais. Based on all of the comments before you this evening, it sounds like the upgrade resolution to the wastewater treatment plant comes at a very timely manner. Thank you. I hope you all approve the upgrades to the wastewater treatment plant. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is
Sell out.
The next speaker is Terry Thompson,
Political
followed by
aspirations.
Priscilla DeAnda.
You're next. Mentirosa.
We're gonna on Zoom. We're gonna have Terry Thompson. Terry, you can unmute yourself, and you have 3 minutes.
My topic is on is not in concerns to this. I wanted to speak under the public comment section.
Okay, thank you. I'll come back to you at that time. The next speaker is Priscilla DeAnda. You can unmute, and you have 3 minutes. Ms. DeAnda? Okay, we'll come back to you.
Hello, good evening, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
You have 3 minutes.
Okay. All right, well, good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. As a lifelong citizen of Hollister, seeing the continuous development of unaffordable housing is something that grinds my gears. However, I am growing extensively concerned with the lack of competency when it comes to implementing ethical standards to slow and smart growth. I find it incredibly frustrating and downright offensive how members of the council fail to inform the community about how the funds can be used to maintain or expand our sewage system. What you should do is use that money to pay down the debt to lower the sewage bill. Why are we going to add more debt to people's quality of life who are already struggling? Lower our sewage bills and not add to it. We're not over capacity with the current equipment we have. From what I've gathered, you are laying down the infrastructure for projects lined up for houses to be developed outside city limits. To me, this urban sprawl is an irresponsible, senseless way to grow within our county. Slow, smart growth starts from within, not in unincorporated county spaces. I will say that just because members of the council took and returned money from developers does not mean that there is no conflict of interest. There is. A relationship exists. As a citizen or anyone with common sense, that is indeed conflict of interest. And shame on members of the council to be so deceptive to the citizens of Hollister. But tonight you have heard loud and clear that members of the community are aware. They are watching, they are listening. They are talking to their neighbors, engaging with the community, and getting educated on the issues that will directly impact our city and specifically residents from disproportionate demographics. Look at how many citizens that live on the west side came out to speak on behalf of their community, did their research, showed true compassion, concern for members of the community. You heard what they had to say. You saw the demographic. I leave you with this question. What are the benefits to the residents of the west side of Hollister of expanding the sewage system? Thank you.
The next speaker is Elias Salinas.
Hey, point of order, sir. You don't have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, council members. First of all, the misunderstanding of these residents here that are presented today and have spoken, there is no plans whatsoever to expand the sewer. None whatsoever. So the fact that Mr. Resendez goes out there and gets all these people to come up here with misinformation. The guy's a liar. He's been a liar from day one when he sat up there. Hey,
Mentirosa. Mentirosa.
Excuse
Mentirosa.
me. You've all had a chance to speak. Please allow the speaker to continue.
Pay your money for lying.
Can you stop the clock,
Councilmember
please?
Resendez, enough.
I need 10 seconds back, please.
Can you, please?
Go ahead and use your time.
We'll let
So-
Thank you. So the fact is that this sewer was built back in 2008. There's no expansion. It's already there. The capacities we've known for a long time. What is happening today? And it's too bad that the people here are just misinformed, completely misinformed. There is use for the sewer system to what we call the purple valve. The water gets recycled, and that water gets used for grass at the parks. Will be at the regional park. It'll be going over there to the regional park, and it also gets used right now over at the Hollister Airport. There's uses for this. The fact that we are here tonight with the sewer system. Someone earlier said that Richmark doesn't have this, and still Richmark had his own sewer system. We went through this already at Richmark. So to say that people that live in Ridgemark or say the people that live in Cielo Vista don't go through this, they do and they have. And the thing is that this is to complete an agreement that was already made. And for it would cost us a lot of more money than what is being asked right now. The mayor of San Juan Bautista spoke earlier. They're putting their portion in there. And this sewer system, when it comes to San Juan Oaks, is within the city of Sphere, the sphere of the city. Four Corners earlier already. And the fact that they're making deals back and forth, you know what? That is just rhetoric that has been coming from your Councilman Resendez for years, that even if you shake a hand or you're in a meeting with an individual who has a business here, right away they tell you, oh, you're making backdoor deals money. If this has been going on for so long, no one is making any backdoor deals whatsoever, and no one is making any money, any extra money whatsoever, because they happen to be able to be talking.
Please.
They happen to be talking.
If I can. City Attorney, if I may.
You don't have the floor, sir. Point of order. Okay. Your time, they gave you the extra 10 seconds, so your time's up.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
City Attorney, if I
Mayor,
may.
those are all of the public speakers that we have.
Please, we have a code of ethics.
City Attorney.
We have a code of ethics.
Thank you. I'm being accused by this speaker. I've been accused by this speaker a number of times. Do I not have an opportunity to reply to some of these accusations and lies that Elia Salinas is coming over here saying?
She's just trying to get out of what she owes, her 30,000.
Point of order, please.
Okay, so right now it's public comment on this item. Councilmember Resendez, during your council comments, there's nothing stopping you from clarifying any
If
points.
somebody's at the podium and they're making accusations saying that I've lied about things, I don't have a right as a council person to correct the record and tell you how she's the one lying.
You have that right. I recommend you do it during your council comments.
I'd
and
like
not
to do
interrupt
that
the
now.
speaker. Mayor, you run
Thank
the
you.
meeting.
I think we should finish public comment first. Do we have more?
Mayor Casey, there are no other public comments.
Elia
on this
Salinas
item.
is a liar. She
Point
comes
of order.
over here.
Point
as
of
an
order.
agitator.
Point of order.
She owes the
We are
city
not gonna let you run
$30,000
this meeting
for
here.
telling lies,
Point of order.
and these
Point
people
of
want to
order.
try to silence me
Point
because they
of
get
order.
paid by her
Point
and
of
work
order.
for her.
Point of
Mentirosa.
order.
Don't give her any camera time, KSBW. She loves that.
Okay. I'm sorry.
And that's going to end you up in court again
Okay.
for telling your lies.
Come on,
I hope
people.
you got
We
that
need
on
to
the
move
record.
on. Thank you.
Mentirosa. That's why you
Point
owe
of order,
$30,000 to the city of
Councilmember.
Hollister. Mentirosa.
All right, can we move on, please? I think we just did. So we've done public comment. Now let's move on to deliberation. Can we go through, please? Councilmember Burns.
Gee, I wonder what it's going to be.
You know, first of all, I've sat here and I've listened to each and every one of you politely and patiently. You are rude and in some cases condescending.
You work for us.
That's true.
Make no mistake.
Yeah,
Okay, can we not have back and forth, please? Allow the
So-
council member to continue.
It's my time to talk, not yours.
Stop.
So, having said that, I want to, first of all, ask our Director of Public Works, confirm for me what the purpose is for doing the maintenance and upgrades.
For the purpose of the MBR upgrades?
Correct.
The purpose of upgrading the two older MBRs is to have continuity of the same technology for all 4 MBR trains, to have redundancy in operations so that everything operates the same. If one train goes down for maintenance, we can pull up another train and it works exactly the same as it does when we have the 2 new ones working now. It also, another purpose of this is for proper planning, which is my job to plan to make sure that this treatment plant operates to the best of my ability, to the best of its capacity, and that in the future it operates just as well as it did when it was first built.
So what is the expected life of an MBR?
10 to 15 years.
And how many years old are these?
The 2 older ones are 15 years old.
And those are the 2 we're intending to replace?
Correct.
All right, so it's maintenance driven.
Correct.
Thank you. So one of the things that's come up that really does concern me, and it came up at the last time when we spoke about this as well, is the smell on the west side. Now, I've been in this community off and on over 25 years, and I can remember driving into town and smelling that aroma, and I've heard the conversations before when it was all about the cannery. My understanding is the cannery is no longer an issue, but yet I'm hearing that the smells continue. What have we done to address this? I've also heard the concerns of the community about health. Have we reached out to public health to figure out what is fact versus fiction?
So I haven't personally reached out to public health. I can speak to the odor issues. So when there are odor issues, when the plant's operating correctly, there shouldn't be odor issues. One of the issues in the past was there's a pond, the solid settling basin, where the wastewater goes when the plant gets backed up as far as the belt press and removing the solids. And in that pond, we're supposed to bring it back from that pond when we catch up and then process that wastewater. Well, in the past, the belt press wasn't being used to remove the solids. It was all just going out into that pond, and those solids settle in that pond, and they build up over time, When those solids breach the top of that water, that's when you have the massive odor issues. Last year, we removed 2,000 dry tons from that pond at a cost of about $2.5 million to create 3 to 7 feet of space of water above those solids. So we have the solids, and then we have 3 to 7 feet of water above that. If that's covered in water, we shouldn't have those issues, because the treatment process basically produces, you could call it pure water. You can't legally drink it, but it's clean enough to drink. It's the recycled water that we send from the plant that we provide to San Benito County Water District is treated with chlorine in a chlorine contact basin to kill any bacteria, coliform, anything like that. We test that water for coliform just like we test our drinking water for coliform. When the plant's operating properly, there shouldn't be any major odor issues.
So
I haven't experienced, and I go out to the plant once a week, at least once a month, because I meet with the plant operator out there to go over his report. I haven't experienced a strong odor at the plant. I'm not saying that these people don't smell it. I'm not out there in the middle of the night. I can look into that and see where those odors are and to see what's causing it. But when the plant's operating correctly, it shouldn't cause those odor issues.
So what are we doing to correct those issues?
So one of the things we did was we removed those solids from the solid settling basin last year, 2,000 dry tons.
So what's the plan for this year? If you've done that, what I've heard the community say is there's still an issue of the odor and there's a fear of public health risk.
So, like I said, I haven't experienced that odor. I'll have to be out. I can go by there at the end of this night to see if they have the smell at night. But I go in the plant itself, and I haven't experienced any odor issues in the middle of the day.
Thank you. I'm sorry for the side comments. I understand their anger and frustration, though, because I smell it occasionally, just coming and going. So I know it's real, and I would be concerned as well about the public health. For the city manager, I'd ask that we reach out to public health and hear what the risks are and know what maybe the past history has been, because I've not heard of anybody being sick as a direct result, but I don't know that that's not true, and I would like to know what their records are moving forward as it relates to that, because I think the community's got a real and legitimate concern, and I think we as a council have a responsibility to ensure that there are no health hazards out there that we can prevent. And so I would ask that of the city manager. With regards to the maintenance of this equipment, will there be any direct increase in sewer rates to residents within the city of Hollister?
Well, that depends on the rate study, but what I've seen of the rate study in the draft form, no.
Okay. And so when will the study be completed and we'll have clear understanding of that?
Probably within the next 3 months, 3 to 4 months.
Okay. And so with regard to the, I've heard it expressed a couple times now in different ways as it relates to either CEQA or EIR. Are we within our legal parameters? Has that been done? Or if it has not been done, can you speak to why it hasn't been done?
So the original environmental impact report that was done before the upgrade of the plant in 2008, the environmental impact report was done in 2006, did a study on 5.0 million gallons per day. So it covered everything up to 5.0 million gallons per day and a maximum capacity of 10 million gallons a day, which means it's a maximum peak flow. So it's not for the entire day, but so To upgrade to 5.0 million gallons a day, it's already included in that environmental impact report
So when was that EIR done?
in 2006.
So we're talking 17 years ago, 16 years ago?
Correct.
So would there be a reason to not go back and take another look at that? And not respective of doing the work, it seems that the work absolutely needs to be done. Otherwise, we could have major failure, but I still see a value to maybe going back and either doing an updated EIR on it, because I think there may be facts that have shifted over 17 years that I think our community is deserving of, and I think it would be a good investment of our money.
So part of the capacity study and the master plan that we're proposing as part of this would be, if we go over the 5 million gallons a day, then the environmental impact report doesn't apply anymore. So then we would need to, and that's something that would be identified through our consultant that does the master plan.
So I've heard what you said, and that would be reactive, and so I'd rather be proactive in this regard and make a recommendation that this council consider going out and getting that information, because I do think that would be information that would be helpful moving forward in future expansions of housing development. So that's just my 2 cents in regards to that. Are there any programs available to members of our community that would speak to if somebody's on a fixed or limited income where they could apply for some reduction in fees or some sort of a process to address that?
Not to my knowledge, maybe perhaps the city manager.
Not for sewer, sir.
Is that something this council could take on and consider?
Yes, you could.
Thank you. So again, I'd like us to do that, because I've heard some people have expressed some concern that the $80 is important. And so I understand that, and I'd like to move that forward too, and that would be a recommendation to council moving forward. As it relates specifically to doing the maintenance work, I'm going to support that 100%. This council and past councils have committed to the city of San Juan Bautista. I will never rescind that support for that process. And even though I didn't necessarily like the San Juan Oaks project, again, all of the things that we're talking about in additional use are projects that I'm aware of that are either approved and in the county or approved by the county to be built in the county, which is beyond the purview of this city council. And so with that, I support you 100%. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Resendez.
Thank you. And as I did in my previous statements, I'm going to speak in Spanish first, and then I'll translate to English. Otra vez, muchas gracias. Yo sé que es muy tarde, a lo mejor están cansados, pero muchas gracias por estar aquí. Es muy importante que este gobierno oye su voz. Me gustó el otro junta que tenemos, y vino Vicky Montoya y dijo, no todos nosotros comunicamos iguales. Yo no voy a comunicar igual como el señor que está aquí. Yo sé que tenemos nuestras diferencias, pero yo estoy electado para ustedes. Yo soy latino, mexicano. Mi mamá tiene más de 20 años ahí en el West Side, en Hollister, en Willow. Y cuando yo estoy electado de ustedes, sí me da mucho coraje, sí me da mucha pasión, y me frustra tanto que cuando yo vengo acá a hacer decisiones, yo no puedo seguir adelante y hacer el cambio que ustedes me electaron a hacer. Por eso, muchas gracias por estar aquí ahora, porque sin su apoyo no vamos a poder cambiar cosas en la futura. Es muy importante. A mí no me gusta, aunque tenemos mucha pasión, los quiero decir, porque también quiero ser muy transparent. I don't know how to say transparency. Transparente. Cuando yo he tenido muchos problemas antes con otros consejeros, me han hablado y dicho nombres, me han dicho que me iban a pegar, aquí vengan y mienten, pero yo pienso cuando hagan eso, yo nunca regreso. Yo quiero estar aquí enfrente de ustedes y no voy a regresar esos insultos, pero yo quiero que es muy importante que ustedes saben cuando está pasando eso, ¿ok? Cuando fuimos para acá atrás, la councilmember Morales me dijo que yo era disgusting, y no sé cómo decirlo en español, asqueroso y sin vergüenza. Y todos ellos estaban allá y yo le dije, yo no te voy a decir nada para atrás, pero los nombres que me estás diciendo a mí es como usted se siente de usted solamente. Pero no lo va a decir ella enfrente. Y lo quiero decir porque más tarde lo cambia ella. Yo pienso que esto no es bueno. Ustedes nos están diciendo que necesita más información, más estudios. Y yo estoy de acuerdo con ustedes. Nosotros no sabemos lo que está pasando porque es el olor. Los estudios fueron mucho tiempo. Eso no es el buena manera de crecer la ciudad. Hay que hacer los estudios primero, hay que hablar con nuestra gente, hay que no tomar dinero las que van a hacer dinero cuando hagan las casas y luego hacemos decisiones buenos. Yo no pienso que soy el más inteligente, pero sí soy muy resilient. I don't know how to say resilient. Pero todos estos que trabajan por la ciudad de Hollister son muy inteligentes, muy buenas personas que trabajan aquí, también en el condado. Pero ellos no pueden hacer nada porque los que hagan las decisiones son los que están aquí y ellos tienen que hacer lo que nosotros decidimos. So, aunque agarramos gente que van a hacer buenas decisiones para usted, aunque electamos gente que haga buenas decisiones, estas personas que viven aquí, que trabajan aquí, que hacen buen trabajo, no lo pueden hacer, porque las que hagan la decisión son los que están electados. Es muy importante a recordar eso. También no creer todos los mientes que te hagan cuando te piden el voto. A mí me acaban de votar, gracias a ustedes, tengo 3 años más y aquí estoy juntando con ustedes, educando a ustedes y pelearon por ustedes. Gracias a usted. Así me enseñó mi mamá, así me enseñó mi abuelo y me da mucho orgulloso a poder ser eso para nuestra futura, nuestra familia, nuestros vecinos y niños. Debemos de pagar los deudos, bajar sus biles. Otras 2 cosas que dijo el señor que está aquí, San Juan Bautista, no estamos encima de capacidad. Cuando ganamos San Bautista, no hay razón de hacer esto ahorita. La única razón es que quieren hacer más casas. Y cuando hagan más casas, nos va a afectar nuestras vidas. Las casas que están haciendo son en el condado. Entonces, los amigos que ganaron dinero de ellos, la condado le pueden cambiar y le pueden hacer las casas más grandes. Entonces, nosotros no debemos de aprobar dando drenaje a casas fuera de la ciudad, porque al rato las señoras y señoras que están ganando dinero van a ir con los otros del consejero del condado y van a cambiarlo. Esto solo es para hacer casas. No hay necesidad para hacer la capacidad más grande de la sewer. Debemos de hacer estudios y pagar sus biles de la sewer mejor. I'm going to repeat in English. Vicky Montoya came up here about a meeting ago or so, and she said, not all of us communicate the same. You know, she says one thing one way, and guess what? I say things another way as well. Oftentimes, we're stereotyped in a different way in the media for being who we are, but we're passionate about who we are. I'm not going to communicate the same way that Councilmember Burns does, and that's okay, but it's not okay to call people names and to do it behind closed doors. I want you to know that when we went back there, Councilor Morales said, I'm disgusting, I'm an embarrassment, and I should get out of here. And I said, you can say whatever you want, but that's just how you feel about yourself, and I'm not going anywhere. I've been through this before. I've been through this before.
It's getting late. I'd like to get to business here. I am home.
Okay, can we not have back and forth? Go
And
ahead.
I'm not intimidated, and I don't back down because that's who I am. I'm Mexicano. I'm from the east side of San Jose. I'm educated, and I love doing this for my community, not for money. And I will always do it. We need studies. These people are asking you for studies. This is not the proper way to grow. The proper way to grow is to talk to your constituents, get the studies done, then let's see if we can develop further in a responsible way. Not by getting thousands of dollars from developers and then putting this through, rushing it through. That's the sense of urgency. It's to build houses. Even with San Juan Bautista, we are not at capacity. And I'm very disappointed in the mayor for coming up here and after she got her approval, because of her political aspirations, to lie to the public. Shame on you. Because we were good neighbors to you. We were good neighbors to you. And you got your approval. We're not over capacity, but we know you're in bed with the developers as well, so shame on you. The other problem is that this is the county approval. All these houses are in the county. Well, guess what? This council doesn't make the decisions of the zoning, and they can change it. We don't have the control. So they can say they're making 189 houses, and guess what? The county board of supervisors, who are also funded by developers, can expand that. We should not be giving away the keys to our sewer. We should not be taking money from developers, and we shouldn't be lying and misrepresenting the facts. Thank you.
Councilmember Perez.
I got to keep it to this, huh? I'm good.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? You know what? I just want to go back to the misinformation again. So, Bill, William, this is about upgrading our present MBRs, 2 out of the 4, the 2 older ones, because they're coming out of service. They're no good no more. So we need to make sure that we are in line with our MBRs that we have already upgraded. And so for them to communicate, they have to be the same type of MBRs. And this is, what else are we going to expand? We're going to stretch out the pool a little bit, put a diving board in?
No, just upgrading the MBRs.
Just the MBRs, just so we can get the flow going that we need to get going, so that we could actually, since you've been on board, you've already worked on the belt, correct? Or the belt's coming into place?
Yes.
The MBRs, and didn't we do something about the the irrigating fountains out there?
That's at the industrial plant, yes.
Oh, that's at the okay. So you already are on all these topics, especially the smell, because you know what? I don't live in the big new houses out there either. I live downtown. You know what? I'm just like you guys, and you know what? I smell it over here too sometimes. It's not. It's the way the plant was run before. We have someone else that's in here now, and he's.
Okay, can we not have back and forth, please?
I know. So if you let me finish. So now that he's here, all the other guys are gone. We're getting him all the equipment he needs. How much equipment have you asked for? The belt.
No, that was already in place when I arrived. It just wasn't being operated.
Oh, it just wasn't even. See, so part of the equipment wasn't even being operated. So when the sludge builds up and it breaches the water, then it gets really bad. It gets really bad. But if the way it's designed, they got 3 to 7 feet underneath water. You know, the water smell, the poo smell is supposed to go down. You know what, if there's more, there's nothing about expanding nothing. It's about trying to fix what we have. You know, it's been really just misconstrued.
Okay, please,
It's been writing,
please.
it's recorded on T's.
No
It's right
back and
here.
forth, please. We've already had public comment.
You want blue or black ink? Because this is the way the city runs. This is how we run our city. You know what? My heart is sad up here because it's like, you know what? I see what's going on, and I'm sure you guys know everything else that goes on up here and everything that goes in there, right? So from my perspective, I see things, and you know what? It hurts my heart to see that someone could be misleading so many people.
Okay, please stop.
Yeah.
Please stop
So-
back and forth.
And you know what? When you guys are done, let me know and I'll finish. Okay, so this is basically not about expansion. This is about fixing our problems we have here now. Thank you. Is that correct?
Correct.
Vice Mayor, did you have any? So first, I just thank you to Councilmember Burns because you asked some of my questions already. I did want to just verify because I heard several folks mention, and I don't think this is correct, but they believe that their bills are going to go up because of the upgrades and/or because of the connections that were being approved. Is that going to cause their bills to go up?
I would say that would all be addressed in the rate study, but I would say at this time, no, their rates
No,
will not go up.
because we have funding to cover the repairs. Okay, so there's that, and then so basically, I agree with Councilmember Burns. I would like to see some kind of a study or something about the smell because this is not the first time we've heard this, and I don't know what we can do, but I would like to see that. I think part of it may have been not having the belt running properly or other issues, and hopefully the upgrade of the membranes will also help with how the sewer system functions. For me, I know that there's housing projects out there. They are county projects. None of us approved any of these housing projects, but for me, this has always been about the infrastructure itself and the fact that we've got old and we've got new. We had to replace half of them already. The other half needs to be replaced now. And the way I look at it, it's kind of like your car. You got tires. If they're starting to wear out and they're going bald, you don't wait till you have a blowout. We don't want to have a malfunction happen with the sewer, and we have the funding to fix these old membranes that are at the end of their lifespan. So for me, I support replacing those because I want the if you think it smells bad now, if those things start malfunctioning and they aren't working well together, we can have a lot worse. So I would rather see us do the repairs and maintain and take care of our infrastructure. So that's my focus. And I guess that's it. I think everything else has been pretty covered.
Madam Mayor, I've got 2 follow-up questions, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Again, Councilmember Rick Perez said this is not going to expand. This will double the capacity. The MBRs, purchasing the new two MBRs, I know you're saying we've got to do all these other steps, but ultimately it allows the state to permit us for double the capacity of what we are currently processing at the plant. Yes or no, sir?
No. It doubles the capacity of the MBRs. It does not double the capacity of the plant.
So processing, it's doubling the capacity of what we are allowed to process by the state of California.
Through the MBRs, but
Thank
not
you.
through the entire plant.
Also, the pipes, the failing infrastructure within the city, who's going to pay for that? The mayor's over here saying that the bills are not going to go up, but who's going to pay for the failing infrastructure that's existing city limits now if something goes wrong?
We have funding available in the fund balance and in the expansion fund balance to fix any problems that we have with the sewer currently.
That the residents of Hollister have paid into, is that not correct?
Correct. The residents of Hollister, everybody who pays a sewer bill pays into the sewer fund.
Thank you.
And any development pays into the impact fees that goes into the
Thank
impact
you.
fund.
We're also paying with our quality of life, being stuck in traffic and having to smell that sewer. It's an environmental injustice. I urge this council to vote no. Thank you.
Do we have any other comments or questions, or are we? Sure, go ahead.
I think I would just, on the recommendation of Councilmember Burns, I would probably ask council to hold on the CEQA recommendation until we actually consult with our city attorney on that.
I'm sorry, for clarification, you're asking that we hold on taking a vote?
Hold on the adding CEQA, the CEQA additional studies until we consult with our attorney. 'Cause that could be used in a lot of different ways.
So I was under the impression from our attorneys that we were solid with where we currently are?
Yes, and I heard you say earlier that you're, because of when it was done, that you wanted to do another one, but I would recommend to just hold off on that part of the recommendation until
Okay,
we
not
consult.
necessarily moving forward with
Yes.
doing the work.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I'm on board, and I'd make that motion.
I second.
Madam Mayor, I'd
Okay.
request that we have a roll call vote, please. Thank
Okay,
you.
so what is your motion on the table then? I didn't
That
quite-
we move forward with the work and hold on the CEQA piece until,
Council.
well, actually to revisit the CEQA based on
We
its
need-
age.
Those other items are direction items, right? The only
Yes,
motion before
yes.
us is just the,
Yeah, correct.
repair.
I mean, I also ask that we do that we go out and we reestablish what's the cause, what's the effect, what's the solution for the smell. There's no doubt, and I would like for us to reach out to public health to see if there have been any illnesses reported as a direct result, and better understand that. I mean, but at the end of the day, I still want to move forward with the work because the work needs to be done. These are old, dated, somewhat antiquated, and we could be in a real jam if we don't update these.
So for the record, is it a motion to approve resolution number 2023-154?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a second to that motion?
I second.
Okay, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Perez?
Yes.
Councilmember Resendez?
Absolutely not.
Councilmember Morales?
Yes.
Councilmember Burns?
Yes.
Mayor Casey?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0 with Councilmember Resendez opposing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then, okay. All right, so it is 10 o'clock, and I need to get approval from council, whether you'd like to continue. What's the
I
will?
don't mind, but I'd like to take a 5-minute break if we may, please.
Are we okay with continuing then? Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break before we go back to the consent agenda. agenda. Right? We don't have public comment, do we, or do we? General public comment? We did that. After, okay, after the, okay. So confused. All right. Do any members of the council have any brief questions or comments on items from the consent agenda? Councilmember Burns.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be brief. I would like to pull item A8 and A10, please.
We were trying something new tonight to try to speed things along. Did you just have a quick comment or question, or did you have some more extensive than that?
I have questions on A8, and I have a comment or two on A10.
So,
If we're going to pull it, we have to allow for public comment anyway, right?
Right, yeah,
That's
you're going
correct.
to have
Gotta
to
pull
let
it.
the public, open it up to the public.
Yeah,
as
if it's
well.
not just a simple, like, a very brief comment,
Like fix a typo in the minutes.
or
Okay.
it's, clarifying where, like, the tree light one is on there. If it was
Okay.
a clarification of it's East
so
Street.
those are the, so, okay, so we'll
Yeah.
pull 8 and 10.
A8
Correct.
and A10, please,
8
Mayor.
and 810, okay. Any others? I actually wanted to just do a correction on the minutes. I believe we can do that, right? So on the A1, the June 20 minutes, there were a number of speakers, and it incorrectly stated that they were speaking on the moratorium, but being not outside the city limits. And it's actually, they were just speaking on the moratorium, so that last reference should come out for all the speakers.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. And
I went
I'll
back to the
listen-
video because I'm like,
Okay.
I don't remember them saying that way. So if we
Okay.
could take a look and or correct them.
Absolutely, thank
Okay.
you, Mayor Casey.
And my other item was also a correction to item A6, the stormwater item. It says an authorized discharge of processed wastewater, and my guess is it's supposed to be unauthorized discharge of wastewater. Do we know? Or do we need to go over that?
For
I'm sorry, you said on A6?
A-
On
A6?
in A6, the stormwater, it says an authorized discharge of processed wastewater into San Benito River. My guess is that's supposed to be unauthorized, right? Because it has that on the agenda and on the resolution, so we'd need to correct that.
Yes, it is unauthorized.
So it should say unauthorized?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
Okay, so
I'm
make
sorry,
that
I
correct.
was just trying to find it on there. That is
Sorry.
correct, yes.
We
All right,
we
those
will
were my two,
we'll
so-
correct that.
Okay, so we're going to just pull 8 and 10 unless anyone has any others. All right, so are there any public comments on the general consent items?
Well, Mayor Casey, I move to adopt the consent item as presented by staff, except for the corrections made by you and for the items A8 and 810.
So we before we do that, we don't have any public comments on any of the consent agenda items, including A8 and A10, A6, and the minutes. Okay.
Mm.
Which item is it for? I need to know which item. Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take public comment for item A12.
Okay. Okay, so then,
And then we'll come back to the motion, but we'll go ahead and take public comment on the consent agenda items.
Okay.
so, Ms. Salinas?
Thank you. know I saw earlier the San Benito County Water District manager, but he's gone. So my question is on 12 is, I don't see what the cost is going to be for drilling a well. That's my question. What is the cost?
Okay.
Okay, and then Councilmember Resendez, so you said you're not voting, your motion was not for items A8 and A10, and then what was it for the corrections? You weren't
The
moving
corrections
those?
mentioned by the mayor.
So you don't want to include that in your motion to approve
No,
it?
to approve it.
Okay.
Yes, he was including them in.
Oh, okay, so we'll correct the minutes, we'll correct item A6, and then, but we are not including item A8 and A10, but the rest of the consent agenda.
Okay.
That does require a second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Yes.
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 Motion carries 5-0. Okay, can we move then to item A8?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Item A8 is a resolution asking, authorizing the city manager to execute a contract amendment with Kimley Horn and Associates for the amount of $456,160 to review capital improvement projects, review development projects, and update project estimates for the capital improvement program. So there's 3 separate proposals. Is there a particular proposal that you have?
No,
Question?
actually, I think I can make this fairly quick and simple on my behalf. I'm looking at almost $500,000, and did we consider any other firms, or is this a sole source bid request?
So currently we have 4 on-call engineering consultants working for the city. It's San Benito Engineering, Matthew Kelly, Wallace Group, and Kimley Horn. Kimley Horn has the largest firm, but they also have the best expertise in these areas relative to the other firms. So I am planning on issuing an RFP later this year for new on-call engineering consultants. So I imagine you'll see different consultants, and as well as more specialized consultants as well. So.
Okay. For me, I have some, I just have some concerns that it seems like we're limiting those who have an opportunity to bid on a $500,000 project. And so I'm not convinced I can support this moving forward without others having an opportunity to compete on this. And that's a lot of money. How much money, and this may be an unfair question, and it's okay if you tell me that, do we have a sense for how much money we've paid Kimley Horn in the last year? It feels to me like they seem to be, and I've heard what you said about great expertise and so on, but
several $1 million.
Several $1 million.
Yes.
And has that also been as a sole source, or have they competed against others for those awards?
So as regarding these on-call contracts, we
Can you speak into the mic?
Oh, sorry. Regarding the on-call contracts, we select the consultants who's best qualified for the work. You'll notice Wallace Group gets a lot of underground improvements like water, wastewater, and storm. You'll find San Benito and Matthew Kelly have been doing more survey-related work, and I've recently given them more engineering work to do. But Kimley Horn is probably the best generalist with the capacity to take on work.
Thank you. I understand what you said. I just can't support this. And it concerns me that there doesn't seem to be any really clearly defined process that I'm aware of or have I heard you speak of. I understand they're good, but honestly, I even have some questions about some of the work that we've done in the past, about the completeness of it, and I think that it should be done in a competitive bid process. So thank you. I know you inherited this, as did the city manager, and so for me, I have my concerns. Thank you. I won't put you on the spot.
Councilmember Burns, if I may add, typically in years past, these were done via task order against their contract. So one of the things that we've been doing is bringing those forward as contract amendments. It has been a while since these have been procured. The procurement policy does have leeway in regards to engineering firms. And so we have been working within the procurement policies. However, we wanted to bring these forward as amendments to the work rather than a task order due to the size of the contract amendment. We do plan on issuing an RFP. It's been many, many years since that has been done. When the original RFP went out, we had Kimley Horn with San Benito Engineering and Kelly Engineering as their subcontractors. Those are 2 local firms. As part of the budget a few meetings ago, we actually contracted directly with them to be able to spread that work rather than depending on Kimley Horn to spread that work down through their subcontracts with them. So that's resulting in more local work and providing more opportunity to be spread across 4 firms rather than essentially Wallace Group and Kimley Horn.
Thank you. I appreciate the clarification, City Manager. Thank you, sir.
Does anyone else have comments on item A8?
I think my only comment is I completely agree with Councilmember Burns. That was my question as well. I think we want to see the pool expand, and when we have concerns about either process or including community or the work, it's nice having the opportunity to be able to look at that. We're also looking forward to the procurement policy coming back to address these issues.
Okay. Can I get a motion regarding item A8?
Move to adopt.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? No.
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 Okay, item fails then 4-1. Okay, and then we had item A10.
Thank you, Mayor. I can make this fairly short. Again, I noticed that this is not a serious amount of money, and it's to do janitorial services for the code enforcement offices, and I get that. But again, I would really like to see us start to do these kind of services in-house. And I don't know what the overall custodial costs are, but I find it hard to believe we couldn't find local people to perform those jobs where we could provide benefits. And I think the time has just come to move to that model. And I just wanted to express that, but yet I also understand where we're moving forward in that regard. The office still needs to be cleaned, and it's not a significant amount of money, but I want to really try and change a past practice and trend here where it was to outsource things consistently. And I think that I'd be amazed if we can't find qualified local people that we could employ to do this work and provide them with a benefits package that would be competitive. So just my 2 cents, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Resendez.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I brought up some concerns about this as well in private with the city manager. And my concerns are that I just want to ensure, I want to find out when is the contract coming back, and I do want to ensure that local people are eligible for the contract. So this is an amendment, I understand that, but when you do bring it back, I would just ask that you take into consideration the comments from the council. Thank you.
Any other comments? Do we have a motion for item A10?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, that was it, right? Item A8 and 10. I think we're done with the consent. Okay, moving on. So we're going to move to public input. This is a time for anyone in the audience to speak on any item not on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. Speaker cards are available in the lobby and are to be completed and given to the city clerk before speaking. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium, state your name and city for the record, and speak to the city council. If you're joining us via Zoom, please click on the bottom of your screen to raise your hand. If you're joining us via Zoom using a cell phone, please press *9. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes per subject. Please note that state law prohibits the city council from discussing or taking action on any items not on the agenda. City clerk, do we have public comment?
Yes, Mayor Casey. Our first public speaker is Terry Thompson on Zoom.
Greetings, Mayor and City Council members. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
My name is Terry Thompson, and I'm the Caltrans project manager for the Highway 25 156 roundabout project. And I'm here this evening because I have some important upcoming construction information for you. On Wednesday, August 16th and Thursday, August 17th, Caltrans will implement overnight traffic controls at the intersection of Highway 25 and 156. Please expect delays between the hours of 7 p.m. and 5 a.m. each night. This night work is necessary to transform the intersection from a four-way signalized intersection to a new temporary traffic configuration. The temporary traffic configuration will operate similar to a one-lane roundabout. Upon reopening on Thursday morning, August 17th, travelers will be required to slow down and yield to traffic already in the roundabout before entering. There will be no signalized traffic lights, although there will be signals with flash yellow. And travelers will experience new advance alerts as they approach the intersection, including a roundabout sign with flashing beacons, yield signs, and rumble strips to advise the traveler of the change in traffic at the intersection. Once inside the intersection, the vehicles will follow the signage to exit to their desired direction. Speed limits within the project area will remain reduced to 35 miles per hour for the safety of the travelers and construction crews. Caltrans is coordinating with the CHP and other local agencies to ensure safety throughout the duration of this work. The second night of road work will permit crews to place temporary barriers in the middle of the intersection to protect workers during the next phase of the turbo roundabout construction. And approximately 1 week in advance of this, Caltrans will place portable electronic messaging signs to alert travelers of upcoming changes to the intersection. The temporary single-lane roundabout traffic configuration will remain in place throughout the end of construction in early 2024, when the new turbo multi-lane roundabout is open to the public. Veronica from the COG has some handouts about the overnight traffic controls. And do you have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Our next public speaker is Veronica Lozama from COG.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I just wanted to Veronica with the Council of Governments Office, just emphasize that we will be monitoring the modifications to the intersection, and please know that if there are any issues, the COG Board of Directors will be addressing those directly through our meetings with Caltrans. Caltrans does attend our monthly meetings, so we have ongoing conversations with them about anything that happens on the state highway system in San Benito County. And I also wanted to extend an appreciation to city staff, as well as Chief Reynoso and his staff for attending the meetings. We're working really well with our partner agencies to ensure that this information gets out to the public. So thank you for your time. Have a good evening.
Our next public speaker is Liz Schneider. Charlie Parker and Elias Salinas.
Come on down.
No, the others left a few hours ago.
I don't blame them. Thank you. Good evening. So I'm sure you all are aware, and I hope that you all have read the grand jury report. And I am here to advocate that in the past, the previous council was not very friendly to the fire department. And I would encourage this council to please support the fire department. One of the biggest things in the grand jury report is how they lack staff. And we all know that we need more firefighters. And I would hope that somehow the city finds funds out there to give the fire department the opportunity to hire more people, so that public safety is one of the most important things here, and that is your responsibility to make sure that we have it. And so you support the fire department by giving them some money to hire more firefighters, as well as we also are short on police officers, so I'll go ahead and say that. So it is just the mere fact that a council member makes a statement that another council member in closed doors made any kind of statement is a violation of the Brown Act. And I don't know if anybody got that or not. So it's very disappointing. We've had the main denominator has been one specific council member, and the chaos has been up there, and it continues, and it's really disappointing. I mean, it was it's great to see the public have input and come here and show up. But when they show up because they don't even have the facts and they think they're here for something else, is a waste of their time. I mean, it's 10 o'clock already. And these people it was a long evening for these people to be here, and for the councilman to be going out there. And you can go out there and you can advocate, but good Lord, advocate with the truth. You know, would you come out here and you make everybody be the bad boy, and the people
Point of order. Did we not already have this discussion?
This is public comment.
Sorry, sir, you're out of order.
I would like to encourage the rest of the other council members to please, when you are behind closed doors, if that is where it has to be, or on one-on-one, is the decorum. You have an ethics and you have decorum, and the city even paid a special mediation counselor and everything to come out here, and you follow these words, and the most of the thing is, is find the facts, state the facts, tell the truth, but more than anything, encourage people to come out here and be part of the system, but with the facts. Thank you.
Thank you.
City Attorney, question if I may. By me stating that Councilmember Dolores Morales said I was disgusting and embarrassing in closed session, is that a Brown Act violation?
No, it's not.
Thank you. Mentirosa.
Do we have any other public
Mayor
comment?
Casey, those are all the public comments we have.
Okay, can we go then to city manager report?
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Do we have any trainings or conferences, or do we have any for our police? Captain Betania?
Thank you. We did send Sergeant Solis and Senior Officer Teresa Aguilera to train the trainer training for ABLE. ABLE stands for Active Bystandership of Law Enforcement, and this is to prepare officers to successfully intervene in situations and to also create a culture of support for intervention.
Awesome.
And that's it.
Mayor,
Thank
if
you.
I may, Christy Hopper, our Development Services Director, just completed last week the ICMA High Performance Leadership Academy. And that's a very rigorous course. And she found a way to get it done while we're doing all of these other projects. Wow. So I'm really proud and happy that she was able to get that done.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. City Attorney, did you have a report out? And any Paul? No? Okay. So we're going to move on. We have a public hearing, but I wanted to take the temperature of council. My personal preference would be to move this to a future meeting. I spent a great deal of time on this ordinance. It's extremely complex, and my understanding is the Planning Commission had a couple of meetings to go over this, and I feel like at this point in time, especially, and like I said, it is complex, but I'd like to hear from the council as to your feelings. Councilmember Burns, do you have a thought?
Thank you, Mayor. I would support continuing this to a date specific.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Resendez.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, so you're talking about item E1.
E1, yes.
Is this the one that we received the letter from BIA opposing having it on the agenda tonight? Is that correct?
I don't know.
Okay, that one was already moved. All right, it's late, and this is where my brain gets a little wobbly. Why are we moving this item?
I think I already stated why. I'm just trying to take the temperature of council, so you're...
I just think if it's agendized, we should honor that and have it on the agenda.
What are the other
Thank you.
feelings of council members?
Push it back. You got a lot
Move
of
it.
stuff in here.
We'd like
Move
to
it.
continue this item, so can we please?
Yeah, so you would need a motion to continue it to the date certain, so you don't have to renotice it.
So
Could I-
moved.
Okay.
What's the date?
Do we want to move it to the 21st?
22nd.
The 21st is
Is it 20?
21st? Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, before we move forward, I'd like to ask if there's any members of the public that like to comment on this item. Unless you already did that, I can't remember at this point.
Do we do that if we're continuing that?
You're not required to, because the opportunity
'Cause
for
it'll
the
be there
public
at
to
the
comment
next
on it will
meeting.
be at the next
Yeah,
meeting.
I think we'll skip that for tonight. Councilmember Burns, you made the motion?
Yes, I did, Mayor.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Yes.
All opposed?
I'm a no.
Okay. So that'll be moved to the 21st. So moving on to item 2, the resolution of the City Council and City of Hollister replacing the temporary 150th anniversary city logo with a new city logo. Do we have a staff report?
Yes, and Paul will be bringing up the mock-up of the proposed logo. So I'll keep it brief. As all over our packet, you'll see we have our regular logo, which is the clock tower with the cornucopia under that says Hometown, California. We then, to commemorate the 150th, commissioned a new logo. As you know, the anniversary was August 6th, and today's August 7th. And so the timing is working well. We've received tremendous feedback on the 150th. All I've heard is everybody in the community. I haven't heard one negative thing about it. So what we did is we worked with the designer to do a mock-up that is similar, just kind of stripping away the 150th and making it more permanent in nature, with the City of Hollister established 1872, whereas before it had the 150th anniversary on that. So what we would do if we received approval is we would also seek to trademark that logo and then work with the designer for a style guide, for a lack of better terms, where we get the actual color codes and all of that typically goes with a logo, all the high quality resolution images that we can use as a package for our new website, any of our materials, business cards, etc.
Okay. Do we have any questions from council? No. Do we have any public comment on this?
Mayor Casey, we do not have any public comments for this item.
Okay. Does anyone have any further comments? Councilmember Burns, do you? No?
I'm good, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Resendez.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A couple of comments. Number one, I think it's absolutely stunning. Thank you. It feels like you're bringing us into the future in a lot of ways with with the improvements we've seen amongst staff, and then the new logo. I do think the old one was a little bit outdated and kind of stale. If that's just my personal opinion. So thank you for bringing this forward. It just feels really new, nice, and fresh. I would recommend, and I think we talked about this, the old logo, it's my understanding that it was not protected. So we need to look at legally protecting the patent on the old logo, because there can be problems if we don't. And then also seek one for this. And I think that's what the direction was anyhow. So thank you for your work on that.
Yes. We can work to make sure that all of the logos are trademarked. It's a relatively low cost and within my spending authority.
Sure. Councilmember Perez, anything?
Move to approve.
Okay. Vice Mayor, do you have any comments? Before we go to vote, I just, as a designer, I want to say how much I do love this, and I'm so glad we're moving forward with this. But for some reason, the S in Hollister is sticking out to me like a sore thumb, so I don't know if there's something there, if it got stretched somehow, but otherwise, I think it's beautiful, and it's got a retro feel, but it's kind of new and clean, so it's really, I don't know who did it, but great job.
Yeah, it's through Creative GDS, which is a local design firm here in town.
Yeah, I know him. Okay.
Great. Now you messed it up for me. I can't get past
sorry.
that S now.
I'm sorry. It just looks a little out of proportion to the rest of the
we'll
letter.
compare it to the other
you
one.
You can look at it and see maybe it got stretched somehow.
Okay.
But otherwise, we had a motion to approve the logo and second. So can we take a vote then? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Carries 5-0. All right. Now, moving on to item G1, resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister 2023 General Assembly appointment. Can we have a staff report, City Manager?
Yes, thank you. So what this item is here today is to ask the council if they are interested to seat a delegate for the League of California Cities 2023 General Assembly for this fiscal year. There is the conference coming up. The General Assembly is Friday, September 22nd, and it'll take place in Sacramento, California. I have made that offer available, put it out to all the members of the council. I do plan on attending, and Councilmember Morales will be attending. And so with that, if you would like to make a recommendation for an appointment, if that gets voted on and approved, I will file that paperwork with League of California Cities.
So would we be approving Councilmember Morales as the appointment then? Is that?
It is
the
not
desire?
written that way. It's written for you all to decide and make a nomination. I did not have
Okay.
I did not take it upon myself to nominate a member, but I know
Right.
it's something we need to do. So that
Gotcha.
would be the purview of the council.
So do we have questions then?
Yeah, I just want to say that's how we've done it in the past. Is there any interest from anybody else at the council wanting to attend this expo? No? Okay, then.
What's the date on that one again?
September 22nd.
Yeah, I say that's how we've done it in the past.
Okay. Do we then have any, if no one else has questions, do we want to take public comment? Is there any?
We have no public comments for this item.
Okay. Does anybody else have further comments or? does anyone
No,
wanna-
I'm prepared to make a motion to move to adopt with appointing Councilmember Dolores Morales as the representative.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Now we're going to have reports from city council members regarding committees on which they serve. Anything, Councilmember Burns?
Nothing to report, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember Resendez?
Thank you. I attended this past week on Thursday the San Bernardino County Water District. I'm learning a lot. I really enjoy being on this committee. One thing I've learned is that San Luis Reservoir is expanding, and we're looking to purchase part of that expansion so that we can have more storage. If we don't, it's kind of a situation where if you don't try to get it, then we can lose it later on. So they're vested. They're trying to move forward with that. So more to come on that in the future. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Perez, do you have anything you'd like to?
Nothing to report.
Vice Mayor Morales?
Nothing to report.
I just have a couple quickies. Animal ad hoc, we had a meeting. We've had a number of the local nonprofit groups have joined, so we've got quite a group that's been showing up, and it's really exciting to see. They've also gotten very good about sharing information and helping to establish better communication with the animal shelter. And thank you to Captain Batano and the staff for, helping to keep us organized. Recently, they helped get several pets that were at risk at the shelter adopted, so that was pretty cool. The only other meeting I want to report about is last week I met with Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas, Mayor Leslie Jordan, and Board of Supervisor Chair Mindy Sotelo. We had a discussion with the speaker just about the issues and priorities for our county and our cities, and it was a really good start to communication with him, and he is still we're still very much on his radar, even though he's got a lot of new duties, and he will be keeping in touch with us, and hopefully we'll be able to move some things forward. So, and that's all I have for that. So we have informational reports. Did you want to, anything? It says city council, city managers. City
Yeah, nothing
attorney.
to report, Mayor.
Okay. And Captain Batano, do you have anything informational wise?
Nothing to report.
No? Okay. And
I have two.
Yes.
We have two requests for upcoming proclamations. The first is for the 55th anniversary of Eden Housing. They requested a proclamation honoring that. And then the other is from the Jacob's Heart Children's Cancer Support Services organization, asking that the City of Hollister declare September 2023 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So we have those two requests, and if there is consensus, we'll put it on a future agenda.
yes, definitely.
Okay, I will prepare those. Thank you.
Okay. So I guess we can go through the council. Do you have a few things, Mr. Burns?
You know I do.
I know you do.
So, that's the downside of being gone a month. So first of all, and I really want to, first of all, as a council member and a member of the community for a number of years, want to take a moment to personally and professionally thank David Huboy for his time served on the Planning Commission. I think he's probably the longest standing appointed official for the city of Hollister that I'm aware of. And so I would like to, with the council's consent, put together some sort of a recognition certificate, but more importantly, I think maybe we actually do some sort of a special event to honor him. I know that he's no longer residing in California, but my sense is he'll be coming back, or we could maybe tempt him to come back. I really think, as I understand, it's about 20 years of public service, That's an amazing thing. And so I really would like to see this council move forward with that. I'd also like to maybe start to recognize some of the longstanding businesses. I know that we recognized Bill's Bullpen recently, but I also know, for example, there's San Benito Tire, been around forever. Foster Freeze, been around forever. A&W Root Beer, been around forever. And I'm sure these council members can name others as well. And I know we focus a lot on development and growing the business community, but I think we really need to, number one, support these local businesses, and these all have clear records and patterns of success. They've been around decades as well, and so I'd like for the council to maybe think about moving something like that forward. I would like to take and personally thank the staff for getting the water feature up and running for the Whaler Park or Valley View Park. Thank you very much. That, to me, is an amazing feat, and I look forward to more regular maintenance so we have these things going. Thank you, City Manager. I know that you drove that, and staff, thank you as well, because it's kind of hot out there right now, and I think that's a great feature. Would like to get an update from our police department at their convenience as it relates to moving forward with Nest or Flock or Shot Spotter. It's been a while, and I think the time's good now to really have that discussion about if and where we'd like to use those resources. I would like to get a report from staff on how CFDs are specifically spent after they're collected. And also, my understanding is Sunny Slope Village is not a CFD, but my understanding is they have some sort of taxes that they're paying. I continue to hear concerns expressed about maintenance of the city sound walls, and they look like they're in need of repair, definitely have minimum painting, and so I would like to move forward with getting an update on where that money goes so that the taxpayers can see where their money goes so that they're not thinking that they're not getting the value of that tax that they're paying. I would also like for city staff through the council direction to get a number, and I don't know, maybe they're doing them already, but I've not seen it. I'd like to see our downtown sidewalks cleaned, preferably with something hot versus cold, and get into a regular maintenance. It's looking pretty grungy down there, and it shouldn't be very expensive, but your downtown is the heart of our community, and we just spent $250,000 for a sign, and so I think it's time to really start to look at how we continue to improve our downtown. And so with that, Mayor, that will conclude my comments for this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, Councilmember Resendez.
Thank you. I'm just wondering if we have an update. Has Mia Casey paid back the money for taking her trips to Washington, D.C.?
Yes, she has.
So she paid back how much of it?
I don't have the exact dollar amount in front of me. It was about $775 roughly.
So not the total amount that she went over her allocated budget?
No, when she made the comment, it was for the flight, and so the flight amount was paid back.
All right. She's still over. Has Dolores Morales paid back the money that she was allocated and went over on her budget?
I don't believe there was council direction on that or a discussion on that.
Okay. But has she paid back the money?
We haven't not received any money back. There was
Okay.
We didn't have direction to pursue that.
All right. And then Rick Perez, as far as the felonies that he has, have we found out what those felonies are and if he's even legally able to sit up here as a city council representative to this day?
I have not, no. I didn't receive any direction in that regard.
And what would we do to move towards that?
I would need council direction.
Okay. And to this day, we don't have council direction to move towards that?
Not that I recall.
Okay. How about the new investigation that Rick Perez is currently under? Can we get an update on that?
It's not being handled by our firm, but my understanding is that they're still continuing the investigation with interviews.
Okay, so Rick Perez is still under investigation for the second time. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay. Elia Salinas and Irma Gonzalez, have they paid back the money that they owe? to the city of Hollister?
No, I received an update from the risk manager today. Demands were sent out by the risk manager to Irma Gonzalez, Elias Salinas, and Jennifer Gonzalez by and through her conservator, Irma Gonzalez. The demands have gone unanswered, and the demand to Elias Salinas has been returned as undeliverable.
Okay, so what would we do now to collect those monies that they owe the city of Hollister?
That's what the risk manager is looking at, is our options for collection, but collection is moving forward.
Very well. And then lastly, I just want to second the idea by Councilmember Burns. Even though you tried to kick him off of your commission and I swooped in on him, I'm very honored and glad to have got to work with Commissioner David Huboy. I think Councilmember Burns is right. I don't know of anybody else that's volunteered 20 years of their time. I think he's done a darn good job of doing that. And I would love, love, love for us to reach out to him, invite him back, and to honor that any way, shape, or form that we can. Thank you.
Councilmember Priss.
Yes, I'm going to ask about my tree replacement program again that I haven't heard nothing on. And ditto on the cleaning downtown. I see a lot of trapped leaves after the, I think we could do a better job cleaning up downtown. I'd also like to see where we're at, or if we even started anything with the downtown blight for getting businesses to, for we can help them come together so we can make our downtown more beautiful with some of the empty lots, people that aren't doing anything with their buildings. And that's it. That's it.
Vice Mayor, did you have anything?
Yes, I'd like the city, my council members to consider having a formal internship program. This is different than our youth commission. I've also received several concerns from our business community about the parklets and code enforcement. So I'd like to be able to have a meeting with our business community and have discussions about that. Looking forward to having the procurement policy come back. I'd like to kind of make sure that it comes back in a timely manner. I have serious concerns about the code of conduct, and I'd like to have a subcommittee or a committee work on that to be able to look at conduct of council members, potentially fines or even prosecution when they're out of order. And I'm also very concerned about singling out individuals on collection issues. It almost seems like harassment, and I definitely don't want to put the city at any future liability or risk when we're just continuously harassing individuals because somebody doesn't like them. I don't think that's fair and appropriate. I do have serious concerns that I do want to clarify and share. When we were in chambers, did receive several unwanted comments from Councilmember Resendez that were very inappropriate. He got very close to me, about 2 inches away from my face, where I asked him to back away and allowed me my space. Because of the types of comments that he did share, I did say he was discussing because the comments warranted that response. It is unprofessional and unethical to be able to use the community for their own personal gain and also be able to not conduct a city council business. So I'd like the code of conduct to be able to address that kind of behavior and for severe actions to be taken upon council members who are unprofessional and unethical and conduct themselves in a horrible way. This is now the third time Councilmember Resendez has cornered me, got into my face, followed me to the parking lot, threatened me, and it is a size issue. He's a lot bigger than I am, and definitely don't want it to escalate where it becomes a violent issue where he's attacking me. So I'd like that to be addressed. Yeah. One more issue, I'd like the city to look on a community workforce agreement and to bring it back in a timely manner, please. Thank you.
I just have a couple of items. I agree with Councilmember Perez. He mentioned the blight, but I think we're talking about the vacant building ordinance, and I know you and I have talked about it, City Manager, but I'd like to see that come back sooner than later. So I'm not sure what the thing is, but maybe you could give us a report out as to where it's at. Also, I agree with Councilmember Burns about Sunny Slope. I got a few calls as well and messages. And I do understand after our discussion that they are not a CFD, they are a landscape and lighting district. And one of their big complaints is there is landscape missing. The entryways to both sides of Beverly are just bare. There's not anything there anymore. So we really need to do something to spruce that entryways up at least. And as he mentioned, the walls and the signage and all of that is kind of a mess. So I'm trying to think if there was anything else. A little too tired. No, I think that's going to be it for tonight. So.
Okay, so if I can recap, both Councilmember Burns and Resendez mentioned David Huboy. Do we have a consensus there? Councilmember Burns mentioned providing recognition, as we did similar to Bill's Bullpen, for San Benito Tire, A&W, and Foster Freeze.
McKinnon on lumber.
If I can, Madam Mayor.
Actually, Country Rose is only been around for 23 years.
My concern is this. Did these people request recognition from you?
No.
So I would just say if we can, the way that we move forward with this, let's ask the community if they would like to be recognized, and then if we could just have like a special meeting and a special recognition for all those businesses at one time. I just feel like, I don't know where we're going with that, or create a policy, but I don't know if we're just going to randomly just pick businesses. So I don't know. I don't think I can support it the way it's been presented tonight. Maybe we can look at rewriting a policy or doing it in a different way, and really engaging the public and the business owners to see if they even want this recognition.
What's the will of the rest of the council on this item?
Yeah, so I hear two options.
Any thoughts? Yeah, I support.
So I was not solicited by any of these businesses. I just happen to occasionally use their services, and it dawned on me how frequently we're talking about recruiting businesses here, and I think we've kind of lost some of our focus on what's existing. You've heard me often say, well, I think we need to maintain what we have as we grow forward, but for me, those are just three that just came to mind. And again, I would challenge this council. I think you all could name three, and in some cases they might cross over, but I actually think it's even better when they're not asking for the recognition. Yeah. And I actually think that as a council member, we have a responsibility to recognize long-standing good businesses. Whether we create a process, I'm fine with that. I just want to make it clear that I value these businesses, and I believe you as council members do as well, as it does as a city. And so sometimes it's bigger than, even though those three I mentioned are small, sometimes I think they're bigger than Amazon, because they're grassroots type of businesses have been here. I mean, you don't see a Foster Freeze too often anymore anywhere. You certainly don't see an A&W very often anymore. And whether it be G&M Auto Repair, I've been doing business with them for 25 years. I've been doing business with San Benito Tire for 25 years. Yeah. And so for me, I want to express that gratitude to them. And maybe it's just in the comments I'm making right now. I'm not trying to give an advertisement, but they've been around the block for many times, and they survived COVID and all kinds of other challenges. And I think it's incumbent that we recognize them at some level. Maybe it's just this conversation. I don't know, but I want your thoughts.
And we did recently adopt the proclamation policy. So for the businesses that wanted to request, similar to what I think Jennifer mentioned, Jacob's Heart is a nonprofit asking for that recognition. And the policy does allow us to go through and recognize from the council to give staff direction to bring it back as well.
And if there's too much more discussion on this item, it really should be agendized so
Yeah.
the public can participate.
Yes, we do have let's put it this way, we have a proclamation policy. If we want to see those 5, we could get consensus here, and we could bring them through that process.
I would be fine with that. I do like the idea of asking them if they want the recognition, though. I think that would be something to do.
Mayor Casey, if I can, we also have the option in that proclamation policy. It's not just proclamations, it's also other types of recognition. So rather than doing a proclamation where they're having to provide language to us, there's also the option of doing a certificate of recognition that we can give to them, and those are done quite easily and often. Doesn't have to come back if they don't want to have to come to council. That's also an option for them.
So.
It sounds like there is consensus to move forward with some type of recognition for at least those businesses that have been named.
Yes.
Yeah. So we could do a proclamation or a certificate.
Sounds like a certificate would
yeah.
equal and probably be more inclined with what they'd like, in my mind.
Thank you. Just Whale Park, I appreciate the kudos. William and Tina and Derek and their teams really came together to create a good fix and a long-term solution. So the kudos goes to them. They just had to put up with me asking about it, but they went out there and got it done.
I
And
appreciate you guys.
as for Flock, we are just working out some of the fine details with the contract. So it's going back and forth with city attorney, and it's very close to coming forward. So we'll have that for consideration with the contract. CFD expenditure report and LLD expenditure report. We were actually at our department head meeting today talking about the sound walls over there and some of the ivy and dealing with the ivy there to get that taken care of before we go through and paint. If there's consensus, we can work to put a report together. There has been questions about Sunny Slope Village. They are in the light and landscape district. They're in zones 1 and 3, so they do pay they do pay. However, the CFDs have a CPI increase each year where these don't. And so, the CFDs were a funding mechanism that has really been all of the development since. It's been a little while. I don't have the exact date, but for that exact reason. So we'll put that together. Doing it properly, there probably is a dip into the general fund, and that was something that when we bring it forward, we would, acknowledge and put a spotlight on. So, is there a consensus to bring back a report on those? Okay.
Yes.
Downtown sidewalk cleaning. As you know, I'm working with HDA to bring a MOU forward. We've been having discussions about trying to coordinate that for after they do the downtown cleanup. Because downtown's so clean at that time, it'd be the perfect time to come behind and do that. So that is something we're talking about with coordinating with them. So
I'd actually like to see it be maybe quarterly. In other places I've worked or lived, it just becomes routine maintenance. And whether it be the bubble gum or just the gross and disgusting things that find their way onto sidewalks, I think, again, it's an opportunity to make a good first impression. Thank you for your comments, though.
Okay. Let's see, Councilmember Resendez, did you have yours? I didn't see any did you want consensus on any of them? There's more comments than anything? Okay. Councilmember Perez for the tree replacement. I do have a draft that I'm working on with William that we'll be bringing forward that we've been working on this summer. And that is something we have previous direction, so I don't need a consensus tonight. The downtown blight, we are now working with RGS, which was a firm that we had brought maybe about 3 months ago on a contract to help us with some of these, one-time projects, these one-off ordinance changes. Our team that works on the ordinances typically for these items are, Christy, Eva, and Amber, and they've got a lot of other projects, so we're trying to supplement them and get them the support they need. So we have worked that through, and we'll now be doing the staff work with them to bring something back. Formal internship program, Councilmember Morales asked us to look into that. Do we have a consensus on that? Code enforcement with the parklets, and talking with the businesses about that, pulling a meeting together with that.
Every time Councilmember Morales says, I've had lots of people reach out to me, I'd like to know who those people are. So who are these people that reached out and complained about the parklets? We should disclose that to the public. And if we're not going to disclose it tonight, then disclose it if this item comes before the meeting, because I think she's lying.
Yeah, do I have consensus?
Do we? Yeah. Yes, we have consensus.
Councilmember Morales, you had procurement, and then later you said community workforce agreement. So the procurement policy is slated to come back at our next meeting. We've been working with RGS on that. As for community workforce agreement, can you elaborate more on what you were looking for there?
It's more not the beginning end, but the back end of once we're negotiating an agreement, that there are community benefits when we're dealing with X amount. So meaning like hire locally or make sure that we have trained and skilled workforce. So they're called community workforce agreements.
Yeah, and I believe that we touch on that in the draft that we'll be bringing forward on the 21st.
Okay.
Bringing back a code of conduct review, looking at fines, possible prosecution. And Mayor Casey, you had the vacant building ordinance and the Sunny Slope Village concerns as well. So I think we've covered all of the consensus items. If I've missed any, please let me know.
That's it. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mayor, wait, whoa.
Sorry.
Whoa, I'm already gone.
Boy, we missed.
I would like to, I have some questions about H1 unfinished business. Sorry, Mayor.
No, man.
Sorry. This won't take long, I don't think.
Oh, yeah.
Famous last
last words.
Well, they're
Council
famous
member.
words. They're probably not last words.
That's what I was going to say.
So anyway,
H1.
am I?
Go for it,
Oh,
please.
well, thank you. So, referring to the Excel spreadsheet on page 469, I believe it is, and it's item 148. And in essence, what it is it was requested by me, and it was requested in, oh my goodness, my eyes are in
Which one?
March of 2023, it looks like. And so what it says is an update on hiring a maintenance worker to repaint sound walls citywide. And then it says in an update, interviews to be held on 5/8. Offers will be made on 5/12. Paint truck is currently operational and is dated 5/31/23. So now I've heard you say that we've got some momentum, we're moving forward. But what I would like to suggest maybe is we add one additional column moving forward, because it really doesn't speak about next steps. And so I don't know, did we actually hire somebody? Did we not? Sounds like we got the rig ready to roll. And so, again, that's not that long ago, but this is something I've been hounding on city long before those who are currently in positions of authority were here. And it's something I'm going to be a pain till my last day. And so really it's more about a question about next steps or what happened as a result of this, because this would lead me to believe we've got somebody and they're already doing the work, and I can clearly say that's not the case.
So the paint truck is operational. The one last thing that we're waiting on for the paint truck is a pressure washer. We're going to have a pressure washer mounted on that, but the painting part of the paint truck is operational. We did have a recruitment for maintenance workers. We hired one one maintenance workers in streets. That's where this paint truck is located. We currently have one person out with an injury. And we had a retirement for the lead worker position. So one of the other maintenance workers is the interim lead worker. And we just posted that recruitment today, an internal recruitment for the lead worker. So as soon as that gets handled, then we'll have another opening that we'll hire. So we have 3 maintenance workers in streets right now. So to fill that last position, we'll end up with 4 maintenance workers in streets and a lead worker.
Okay, I understand. It just, when I read this, it's like, yay, but then I'm not seeing the results. And now that you've explained it, again, I understand it, which again, I think might be helpful to have another column on the Excel spreadsheet that would suggest where we're going or what we've done, because, you know, as I read that, I'm thinking, we're up and running. And we've had a failure to launch for reasons beyond the control of the administration, clearly, but, you know, I think it also speaks to maybe we need to hire in advance, or kind of like with our PD or with our fire department, you know, we got to figure this out. And I know that I don't want to go too far off topic on this, but thank you. And I can't wait to see things start happening.
Me too. And I think we're going to address the other positions mid-year, some new positions in facilities, so that we have full-time workers just for maintaining the graffiti, painting the sound walls, and litter pickup throughout the city.
Thank you. I know we just recently passed the budget, but I don't think we need to wait until mid-year, in my opinion. Now, strike while the opportunity exists. And that's just me speaking for District 4. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm done, maybe. Thank you.
Anyone else with unfinished business? Okay, then can I get a motion?
You might want to see if there's any public comment on this item.
Any public comment?
We have no public comment for that item.
Okay. And may I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Good night.